home runs, 29 stolen bases, one of the more dynamic players in the league. There's a new left-handed bat. What's going on, everybody? John on here with you. It is September 27, 2023. It's a Wednesday. How's everybody doing out there today? This is going to be a monumental game, just like the one was last night with Alec Nava and myself. The Houston Astros are within a half a game. They're just above a half a game. Seattle just below a half a game. Seattle got a big win yesterday. They're trying to close out this season series in style. They've been doing very well against the Houston Astros, but they're going to have to continue to compile W's to keep things going here. So Bryce Miller is going to get set to take on Jose Altuve, and immediately he puts a fastball foul down the right field line. So to lead it off, it'll be Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez, just like last night, but Alvarez will be the DH spot. When you had Andres Munoz on there last night, he absolutely smoked Chas McCormick with a fastball right in the back. So he's not going to be available. He's listed as day-to-day. He should be good to go when the Astros then go to Arizona to take on 3 games against the D-backs. So nothing's going to be easy for any of these teams in the AL West. And then, again, as we talk about, after this is done, Seattle's going to have to go. They're going to stay here, but they're going to play against Texas for 4. They've only beaten Texas 1 time, but they've dominated the rest of the AL West. So the only thing the Mariners can continue to do is compile W's if they want to get in. And yes, they do control their own destiny, but they're going to have to get on a bit of a run. So the 0-2 pitch here for Miller. Now this one is way down low. And we'll do it again with a fastball, 97 mile an hour on that side of it. So Jose Altuve, pretty good last night, compiled 3 singles. Now his season average up to 315. 534 slugging and 933 OPS, but he just makes good contact with the baseball. Altuve again will do the same thing on a sinker outside the zone. And we'll try this again one more time at 1 and 2. So admittedly, this is a solo call for me tonight, but this will be my last one of the week before we get into the next week's side and we do a wild card matchup. I'm going to try to get both games, or 3 games if we get to it, for a single series, as this is a fastball. This is popped up as a routine fly ball, and Teoscar Hernandez will get underneath it and make the catch. 1 up and 1 down as Altuve is sent away. So for next week, I believe it's going to start on the Tuesday side for the wildcard matchup. So it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from me, and then the following week after that will be the opening of the NHL season, and that's probably going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as well as we'll have 3 different matchups. And a few different guests on there, some that you know and some that you might not know on the side. So Bregman will dig in and a beautiful fastball there from Miller, 96 miles an hour. So it seems he hovers in between 96 and 98. Again, 8-6 for Bryce Miller, 4.17 ERA, 115 Ks, 1.12 WHIP. He has not allowed a run in the last 2 starts against the Houston Astros, and that sounds pretty good for Mariners fans. Going to have to continue that. Again, I thought when doing this game with Alec yesterday that Houston played a pretty poor game, honestly. There was 3 different errors. It was pretty much Bregman not being able to corral stuff at third, going over the tarp and into the crowd for automatic doubles on that side, as Miller is looking on the hands just to make sure. Hopefully there's no blisters or anything else at this point. Bregman is 1 for 10 in this series. It's a 2-1 count. And the sinker misses down and out of the zone. Swung to 3-1. He's 0-6 against Bryce Miller now, but he's in the driver's seat. Ability to get nasty here on a 3-1 count. Yordan did not reach base yesterday for the Astros. You know, he's going to be looking to change that. And a fastball. This is high. So Yordan's going to have something to work with here on the base paths as Alex Bregman does walk. Miller now 11 pitches into his day, was able to get Altuve out, but he walks Bregman here. And then it'll be Yordan and Kyle Tucker unless Yordan hits into a double play here. No stranger to danger from yesterday's side of it because George Kirby was able to get out of a bases loaded jam with 1 out and nobody scored. It could have easily been the ball game last night very early, but the Mariners were able to recover from that and surrender no damage. And they're going to have to maybe do something now against Yordan Alvarez. This is a fastball. He gets the call about 3 inches outside the zone to the delight of everybody inside the Emerald City. that just missed the plate, make it 0-1, however. Yordan 293, 30 bombs, 96 RBI, got a couple of base hits, 2 for 9 in this 3-game series. It'll be the last meeting of the year between these teams. It's the last week of the regular season for everybody else because Seattle's going to have to welcome Texas for 4, and then they will end it. Houston will travel to Arizona. That's going to be a big series for Houston nonetheless, as he's going to leave right away as Bregman, and he's out. Oh my goodness. He didn't think anybody was paying attention, but Bryce Miller still had the baseball in his hands. He was yet to deliver the pitch. And for whatever reason, Bregman runs himself into an out. Good work there by Bryce Miller. He was able to see that on the periphery of his eyes, and he was able to get Bregman, and they were able to get the tag in before he touched the bag. So good work there for J.P. Crawford and Miller to gun him down. And a swing and a miss for Yordan Alvarez, make it 1-2. That's a great defensive play. And again, this has been the back-to-back games that I've done between Seattle and Houston, but so far Houston has been running themselves out of traffic. And a cold strike 3 on a fastball that was high and out of the zone, but Miller will take it. And we go to the bottom 1, scoreless. So, admittedly, as this is a solo call, I will try to save the pipes as much as possible, but I will give you some scoring updates as they come along across MLB. I was considering doing the game between the Tigers and the Royals because it'd be the last broadcast for me to do before Miguel Cabrera's retirement. I'm going to be at Comerica Park this weekend, but still, I thought about that, but the rain delay kind of took that out. So I said, what better way to just go back to what we did last night? 2 teams that are in the thick of a playoff chase. You're not going to get any more intrigue than this, so we're just going to leave it as it is. That game officially is suspended. Detroit's got a 4-0 lead over Kansas City. They're going to make up that game tomorrow and then do the doubleheader as well. I also was thinking about covering Cubs and Braves. In the bottom 9, the Braves are down 4-3, so that would have been a good one to get anyway. And the Cubs are in the middle of the playoff chase as well. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this window for the standings purposes. Because if we click on the wild card here and we go into the National League, Cubs, they pick up this win. Diamondbacks also won today as well, so they can still stay in the second wild card spot. So Framber Valdez, the lefty, about 194 innings, 52 walks, 193 strikeouts. He's going to take them out for the Houston Astros. 12-11, 3.39 ERA, 110 whip on that side. It's been hot and cold lately. He was roughed up by Kansas City and Oakland in losses, but he had 10 strikeouts in each loss. But I don't think there's any messing around for the lefty here. They want to make sure that they at least pick up another game here to win this series because it's going to be a 2 out of 3 no matter way, wherever you put it across. J.P. Crawford will take the fastball in, and he'll back away. For Scott Service in his roster today, they've loaded it up with 7 righties and 2 switch, so they're trying to get that hand in this side against Framber, and we'll see how that works out. J.P. Crawford 0 for 6 in the series, and he was jammed on an inside fastball, but he's going to hit it out. That one was just inside off the bat, but he got the bat head on it. And J.P. Crawford, a leadoff smacker, make it 1-0 Mariners. My goodness. Didn't think he was going to be able to get to that pitch, but his 6th leadoff home run of the season, and the Mariners quickly out in front, 1-0. That almost seems storybook as you get the Trident and the popcorn as it is, but again, There was a fastball inside that buzzed the tower. JP backed away. He got the same fastball in the same spot, and he took it out, top left corner inside. So he was ready for that pitch, and that was lefty-lefty, because when you're talking about it, it's Crawford is the only lefty that's in the lineup. You got two switch, and the rest are righties, so he was able to take them deep. Handedness, I guess, doesn't matter on that side. Julio. Now it's 2-0 as the Mariners have the early lead. And Crawford goes deep. We're with you at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. John, here with you on a solo call. Glad you can join me here today. Framber 5 pitches into his day. And his fastball, he's got his hands in the air and shrugging his shoulders, but he's not getting the call as that was put deep into the strike zone anyway. That did catch the black, but Julio's now up 3-0. And this one is a sinker. It's obligatory take there for Julio. He's going to have it still in his favor at 3-1. Again, as we talk about it for Framber Valdez, a 45% hard hit rate. So when you do make contact with any of Framber's arsenal, it's likely to go deep. Just ask J.P. Crawford. Julio Rodriguez now waiting on a 3-2 pitch. The full count offering will be upcoming. 283, 31 bombs, and 101 RBI for Julio. Again, let's talk about it with Alec just in yesterday's broadcast. He got a month and a half where Julio looked like a pitching machine. Full count pitch. This is a curveball. I think this is in off the Evo Shield, so looks like Julio will be okay with that one. 179 hits this season, 109 singles, 37 doubles, 2 triples, and 31 bombs. And I would be a little bit surprised as we go along the lines, if you go through the next couple of years, that those triples don't improve a little bit even more, because the speed for Julio is pretty much off the charts. So Framber Valdez is going to be 9 pitches into his day. And Julio is going to walk. A good job for the Seattle Mariners to start this game as J.P. Crawford hits a bomb. And this one was in off the plate about 4 inches, and Crawford got the sweet part of the bat. Absolutely deposited it. The right field just stayed fair away from the foul pole. And now Julio Rodriguez has reached on a walk. So it'll bring up Eugenio Suarez. Again, this lineup's going to look a little bit different. Suarez has moved up in the spot number 3, but Teoscar will still be batting cleanup as it's ball 1. So Framber so far has not looked sharp, but again, he could get a double play here. Suarez doesn't have a ton of speed. Julio's got a ton. This is a sinker inside. And again, Valdez, I'm looking at his body language right now here early. Again, I know it's just 11 pitches in, but I've already seen him shake his head a couple times. And now he's having a meeting on the mound with his infielders and Jose Altuve. Dusty Baker is just chewing on that toothpick. But this seems like Framber's got to calm himself down here. And again, I talk about this going into it. I fully expect Framber to be able to take the lead. It can't just be Justin Verlander all the time. He's one of the better lefties that we have in the game. And if he's not himself and he allows the Mariners to be able to take that over, look, they can go, 10-3 if they win this in this series against the Houston Astros? That's an incredible number on that side. He's got to calm down and figure it out. Try to get a double play ball. 2-0. This is way down low. And now 3-0. So Eugenio Suarez, it was Julio Rodriguez who just reached on a walk. Now Suarez might do the same thing after J.P. Crawford just hit a home run to start this game. So Framber Valdez got to lock in here. We'll see what he does on the 3-0. He'll just back away as far as he had no intention of swinging at that one. Make it 3-1. Teoscar Hernandez, the former Toronto Blue Jay, will be on deck. Again, they're just showing it for Suarez, and he's just, you know what? I'm just going to back away, make a throw pitch. We'll try this one again. And this is a sinker that dive bombs out of the zone. And now back-to-back walks. Suarez and Julio Rodriguez. That'll be Teoscar Hernandez now. Due up next. Seattle won the tiebreaker against Houston. You already know that because already 9-3 in the season series. They win, they can be 10-3. So if they're tied, the Mariners will take their spot. Blue Jays are a game ahead. The Rays are 10.5 ahead. So the Rays are locked in the playoffs no matter what. Teoscar Hernandez. This one just misses his foot way inside. And again, as I've talked about early, just 15 pitches into Valdez's day, his body language does not look kind. I'm not seeing someone that clearly has their head in the game right now. Looks all over the place. He's already had a meeting with his infielders. Teoscar's just got to zone in here. You don't want to swing at anything that you don't like. 1-0 pitch. This is a sinker just outside the zone. Make it 2-0. So yesterday in the game with Alec, the Houston Astros had the bases loaded, as we said, top of the first with 1 out. They didn't score. Seattle's already scored 1 with the J.P. Crawford leadoff home run. And this is a fastball that splits the plate, make it 2-1. So Seattle's already done what they have to do, but you got to think they've won at least 1 more run here. Teoscar's hit safely in the last 6 and the last 8. 2-1 pitch upcoming here for Fromber. This is a fastball that's cued down the right field line, and we'll do it again. He got a good swing on it, maybe just a tad early for Teoscar there. 263 average, working with 26 bombs and 92 RBI. He does have 202 strikeouts, so he is prone for that. But when he's got the power, sometimes you got to live with it. 2-2 pitch. The runners go, and a swing and the miss. But Rodriguez able to take third as he gets the lead run side of it. So the double play is still in order. I think Eugenio Suarez tailored himself at first, getting a wide camera angle. So Julio already got a read before Fromber Valdez ever delivered the pitch. So double play still in order, but Julio, it could be scored here on a sacrifice fly. Dylan Moore did not get the start yesterday. He's batting number 5 at this point, 203 average. They just need him to come through here. Curveball just misses the top of the zone. Make it 1-0. I think at this point, with Fromber 20 pitches in already, you want to be around the 15 marker at most. That if you can get through with this with just 1 or less, I think you have to take it. Dylan Moore will not bite on a sinker just outside of the left side of the black. We'll do it again. His career numbers are 4 and 16 against Fromber Valdez. Again, as we talked about, just 1 lefty. J.P. Crawford went deep. But you got, 6 righties and 2 switch to mix in with those 9 batters. You're trying to get that handedness side. Moore waiting on the 2-0. And he does finally get a call as Fromber Valdez. That one was a ball. But you think he's been pinched a couple of times. He gets a 96 sinker on the inside, about 2 inches off the plate. We'll call that one a strike. 2 bombs against the Astros on August 19th. It was a second career multi-home run game for Dylan Moore. This one is in off the hands at 92 and fouled straight back. Make it 2-2. So in the last game that we covered, Astros lost 6-2. Ty France were 2 for 4 for the bomb. Cal Raleigh 2 for 3 with an RBI single. Again, Altuve had 3 hits for the Houston Astros, and Kyle Tucker made a couple of diving catches in the outfield. Sinker way low. It swells the count to a full count 1 more time. Ty France is now waiting on deck. Valdez trying to get out of trouble here early in the first. I didn't think I would be saying that. 25 pitches into his day as the pitch clock goes down to 1. Payoff pitch, and this is lined right to Bregman, and he snow cones it. Julio Rodriguez couldn't go anywhere. Dylan Moore hit it very hard. Brett Bregman was there at third to be able to corral that one. He hit it right on the screws, on the sweet part of the bat at 109 miles an hour. But Bregman able to get a piece of it and get the glove up in time just to react to that bullet. So the Seattle Mariners, when they hit the baseball, they hit it very hard. 41.3%, ranked 6th in all of baseball. Again, you have 30 teams on that side. Ty France hit a bomb last night. It'd be time for that. Looping curveball gets high in the zone, and Valdez will get the call, but to be frank, that was a strike. 251, 11 bombs, and 57 RBI. 2 for 7 in this series is Ty. That home run was his first in this series and the first RBI. 0-1 pitch. Fouled straight back among the screen, make it 0-2. 4 and 16 is Ty France against Fromber right now. He's just trying to get out of this with 1 run or less and under 30 pitches. So at least the Mariners have gotten the scoreboard. At least they made Valdez work at this point. Julio Rodriguez is at third, Suarez at first. Swing and a miss on a curveball. So Valdez got a little bit of hot water, but he limits the damage. J.P. Crawford goes deep to lead it off. Seattle's got the lead 1-0.
Move just about anything that needs moving. Build just about anything that needs building. They're the ones who make life possible for the rest of us. Ford F-Series trucks, 100% assembled in America, because we're all in America. Returning F-150 XLT AC Plan lessees can lease one for $439 a month for 36 months with zero cash due at signing. See your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. No problem. It's 5 drive modes. Makes this a walking park.
Just because I'm doing a solo call here today, I'm going to save the pipes a little bit just for the play-by-play on that side. So again, apologies to anyone else on that side. We will try to get Alec in, as I've already talked with Cooper. I've talked with Alec. I know I've talked with Don Tottingham before when I went to school up at Oakland. Now, when we get to the NHL coverage in a couple weeks here, I'm going to do a wild card series next week. When we get to the NHL coverage, I'm going to try to mix in between the three. I think Alec and I will at least be able to connect once a week to be able to get our game coverage. And I know we got Cooper in between Seattle, Calgary, and then stuff in the playoffs, especially the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll have that covered. Let me get some Red Wings games with Don on that side, so it should be a lot of fun. So I will plan on having more of a co-op broadcast booth. I always wanted that, but sometimes people aren't available. I will still have my share of solo calls, but I'm going to try to have as many co-op that I can, especially when we get into the NHL season. That'll be my rotation between Cooper, Alec, and Don Tottingham on that side. Sean, how you doing, my friend? This is going to be a solo call here today, though, between the Astros and the Mariners. I did try to catch up with Cooper on that side just to see what was going on, and admittedly, I think the heart is a little fragile on this side because this is his childhood team and he wants to see them do well. I just don't know if he can deal with some of the misery like that. So he said, I want to be here, but you're going to have to carry and try to bring us good vibes. So I said, you know what, back-to-back games. I tried to get the Tigers-Royals game in here today, but it was rained out. I want to get a last Miggy broadcast, but I will be at Comerica this weekend. So Bryce Miller delivers the fastball up and in. He will get the call as just catches the inside of the plate. It'll be Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu, and Michael Brantley will draw to the lineup. There are a little bit of injury designations. And from the yesterday side of it is Tucker. This one, he's got some speed. It's going to be a tough backhanded play, but a nice, smooth one from Caballero of France. And Tucker is retired. It'll bring up the former Chicago White Sox, Jose Abreu. We're talking about injury designations. We talked a little bit about yesterday. When you talk about Yainer Diaz, he got smoked on the left side knee by Justin Topa. He did end up catching in that game as they had to move around the DH side, move around the pitching spot because they replaced Martin Maldonado for pinch hit reasons. Saw John Singleton got an RBI sac fly. But then also Chaz McCormick got hit by Andres Munoz right in the back. He's listed as day-to-day. Don't think he's going to be available until they play against the Arizona Diamondbacks with the day off. He's not playing today as that got swelled up pretty bad. Jose Abreu offers at the first fastball from Bryce Miller, make it 0-1. It's 1 for 8 in this series. Does rock the gold chains and the open sleeve on that side. Still got some power. Now he offers it a 97 outside the zone, so it could be 2-0, but it's 0-2. So Astros against right-handed pitching four seams, 288, which is first average, 8th in slugging. The balls in play is tied for first on that side. So they love hitting the fastball, and they're ready for it. So Bryce Miller is going to throw a lot of them, which you should. That's your primary. You've got to make sure you locate it. 19 pitches into his day. Another fastball high. Could have been 3-0, but it's still 0-2. So Miller's not kind of going away from it. It's still 96 and 98 early here in the top of the second as far as that velocity is concerned. It's tough for me to say that Bryce Miller can do as good as George Kirby did yesterday with the 6 scoreless, but you kind of think that's what Seattle's going to want to do. And that pitching staff, whether or not they make the playoffs in 2023, that's going to be a strength of the Mariners going forward. You got a ton of young kids And when it's spear lined by Luis Castillo, Seattle's going to be just fine. Curveball way out of the zone, and Abreu trying to work his way back into the count, make it 2-2 as that popped in at 82. Abreu's still batting 233, about 17 bombs and 84 RBI, 41 walks, 126 punch-outs. And he's punched out again, make it 127 on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Ate him up for lunch there and sets him down. So Michael Brantley is going to be up next here, batting 6th. He's in left field now. Again, they mixed it in with Yordan Alvarez yesterday. Brantley's still nursing an injury. Again, it seems like that's been following around for his entire career. But when Michael Brantley was completely healthy with the Cleveland Indians at the time, you knew that he was going to be a 300 hitter. This season, 262, 2 bombs, and 6 RBI. Just hasn't drawn into the lineup very much because his body he can't stay healthy. But he can be a professional hitter and make some contact, and that's what the Astros are hoping for. His 96 is followed straight back. Again, his career numbers, 297, 129 bombs, and 719 RBI, 1,652 hits. So this guy is one of the best, especially when he's in the lineup. It's just now at 36, what are you going to get from him? But he should still have that eye. That's always going to carry over from someone like him. 0-2 pitch. Miller's been pretty punctual as far as the pitch clock here. This is 96 high. What I mean by that is by the time it hits between 8 to 10 seconds, it's already ready to go. Mariners are 9-3 in the season series against the Houston Astros. So they've already won the season series, but really they have to get another one here on this side. They've outscored Houston about 5 runs to about 2.8 on that side. So a little bit clear as far as who the better team has been in this series, but if you want to look at it for tomorrow's side, all the way through the weekend, it's been pretty clear that the Texas Rangers own the Seattle Mariners right now, and that's a fair ball down the right field line, and this should be an easy double even for Michael Brantley, and he's going to walk right into second base. A little bit of a coasting action there as Teoscar Hernandez is going to play that one off the hop. So Tugger and Abreu were denied, but it's going to keep the inning alive for Mauricio Dubon. And Bryce Miller is going to have to make sure that he keeps the damage at just a double and nothing else at this point, because you never know what's going to happen with the Astros. They're hungry from yesterday. They did not play a good game, and they want to come back and turn it right around. It feels good to be able to do that in less than 24 hours, and that's what they want to do. Mauricio Dubon's got the numbers. Again, normally he's an infielder, but he's playing center field today for the injured Chaz McCormick, but he's just day-to-day. 279, 9 bombs, 43 RBI, 75 runs scored as he swings and misses on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So that four-seamer's playing heavy, and it's been at the top of the zone. That one was in the zone, but sometimes maybe a couple inches out. And the Mariners, they're trying to do damage on it, but the velocity's played up. 1 for 5 is Dubon in this series. Pitch number 30. This one is in off the hands. Would have been a ball, but Hughes had fouled on the left field line. Dubon's 0 for 5 against Bryce right now. We'll see if that continues. But I haven't seen Bryce. He's got a sinker that he's featured in a curveball that he's thrown maybe a couple times, but it's been all fastballs here through the first 5 outs. We'll see if this continues. Pitch number 31 on an 0-2 count against Mauricio Dubon. Got Brantley at second. This one is in off the mask of Raleigh. He just stays alive, and we'll keep it going. So four-seamer in on the black, and this gets a piece of the glove in off of the body armor there of Cal Raleigh, and we'll do it again. So Brantley, he was able to double down the right field line as he is at second. It is Houston's first hit of the game at the top of the second. We're just early here at T-Mobile Park. John, I'm here with you on a solo call tonight. It'll be an opportunity for Miller to look off Brantley, and then he delivers the curveball at 78. This was in the same spot of the fastball, but Dubon was way out in front of it. Again, you would have to expect, if you're Houston, you would expect that fastball because that's what Miller's been throwing a lot of. Pitch number 32, as Miller tries to get through a little bit of a jam off the double. Trying to keep it at that. Dubon trying to continue to lock in here and stay alive at 0-2. Takes a long look at Brantley, then delivers, and he gets him on a splitter at 88. So Bryce Miller gets the job done, and the Mariners will be due up here in the bottom of the second. It's 1-0 M's. So I appreciate you guys bouncing in and out on the YouTube side. I'm going to keep the voice a little bit calmed in this commercial break. When we get to the third and fourth, I'll give you some scoring updates. It's just me today.
Returning Easy Plan lessees can lease a 2024 Ford Edge for $309 a month for 24 months only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Toyota Camry has been America's best-selling car for over 20 years.
Hey, everybody knows that. But here's something you may not know. It's now available with all-wheel drive.
To give you the confidence and peace of mind to handle any kind of road conditions.
And of course, Camry's assembled right here in the USA.
Now you can get 3.99 APR financing on an exciting new Camry, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota. Let's go places.
It's Ford SUV season. Get great deals on our capable SUV lineup designed to help you on or off-road, including Ford Bronco with 5 standard build modes, Ford Escape with available connected built-in navigation, and Ford Explorer, the all-time best-selling SUV in America. Hurry in to your local Ford dealer. SUV season will end soon. Returning Easy Plan lessees can lease an Escape for $279 a month for 24 months. See your Southeast Michigan Ford dealer today.
Travis, did you know you get this season's COVID-19 shot when you get your flu shot?
Oh, who says it once? Two things at once. Two things at once. I'll have to.
Mariners lead at 1-0 going to the bottom of the second as we take you to Rogers Center in Toronto. Blue Jays very much in the wild card pursuit. Jose Barrios getting the start for the Blue Jays. Aaron Judge in the fourth inning. Strikes the opposite way, and then in the seventh inning. Yeah, how about his second? All the way up.
So I got the Root Sports feed that's we're watching this from the MLB app, and the Yankees paced the Toronto Blue Jays again, so they're not going to be able to pick up any games, and the Mariners can continue to climb up this ladder here off of this run if they can get this win tonight. Framber Valdez back out on the mound. He's going to be facing Cal Raleigh here. And then we'll go back in between 7, 8, and 9 for Raleigh, Haggerty, and Caballero. Great stab as this is thrown across from Pena to Abreu. And that was a fantastic play. Yet another baseball hit right on the seams. And Pena able to make a nice play this time after it was Bregman in the bottom of the first inning. This is just a nice dive over, gets the bottom half of the glove on there, and a nice easy toss, kind of a bullet low-key to Abreu, and it's 1 up and 1 down. So Sam Haggerty, only 48 games played this season, but he draws in the lineup as the DH. 244, 1 bomb, 5 RBI this season with 11 walks and 16 strikeouts. So doesn't strike out a lot. He will make contact. Maybe I will throw the jinx on that side as this curveball. This is low. Make it 1-1. Framber Valdez, again, between 7, 8, and 9. Again, I just say it like this. I think you go right at the 7, 8, and 9. You make sure you keep that pitch count low and you put stuff right back on track. Because, I mean, 1 run's not going to kill you here. But they want to make sure, I believe, if you were Dusty Baker, Framber's got to go 6. So I would think you just attack the 7, 8, and 9 here. The contact and do the best you can. Pena made a nice play. You know, you got a good infield there. So 1 and 2 as the curveball finds the zone. Haggerty finds himself down. And this is a sinker in that Haggerty's able to take a look at. Now swelled the count to 2 and 2. That was at 89 miles an hour. So Framber hovering about 95, 96. He's throwing the curveball. He's throwing the sinker. Kind of the same pitching selection that Bryce Miller is offering, but with the opposite handedness. Framber being left and Miller being a right. This is a curveball. Just away from the Evo Shield guard on the legs and the cleats, and we'll do it again. 2 and 2 is the count. John Utter with you on the solo call. We're watching this on MLB TV today off the app on Root Sports. I'm glad you can join me here today. Again, I did reach out to Cooper Hopkins. I'll be able to send his baseball team a good vibe here. Wanted to get another game in here from the Tuesday-Wednesday side, as I said I would do. Might as well go back to this matchup because we're not going to get any more intrigue than this. Haggerty did not go. It's another full count for Framber Valdez, his fourth. And we're just in the bottom of the second with one out. The Mariners have the lead with the J.P. Crawford solo bomb. Jose Caballero will be next. So disengagement's not used. Haggerty goes back into the bat rack. He's getting ready to go here. Framber trying to deliver the full count pitch and a curveball. Good take for Sam. Again, we said he's not going to be able to strike out too much. He uses those eyes. He might not hit for average, but he's got good vision about what he wants to swing at. And Framber issues another walk. That is his third on his fourth full count featuring. So Jose Caballero, he is going to bat righty, and he's the second baseman. Again, you have one lefty, two switch, and six righties, if I do my math correct on that side for the 9 batters. Again, math is not my major. That's why I went into journalism. The sinker the last 3 seasons for Framber, 95 miles an hour, from 92 to 93 to 95. And he doesn't use it as much, but it does have more velocity. They're slugging more on. Kind of features it more like a fastball, I guess, and that's why it's going to hit more around. Again, I'm no pitching coach. I'm just giving you the broadcasts and the play-by-play, but still, when that velocity's gone up in that sinker, he's not getting those ground worm double plays and those killers. They're hitting the ball hard. 0-2 against Caballero now. There's a couple sinkers. We'll bust them in. Disengagement will be used for Jose here. You imagine when you go down quickly 0-2, want to take a little bit of a breather. Valdez trying to make this a little more swimmingly in the bottom of the second inning. 222, 4 bombs, 26 RBI for Caballero. Again, he draws into the lineup. Haggerty does, and Dylan Morris. It's a little bit different lineup for Scott Service in today's game. Pitch clock down to 5. Throw is way late, and Sam Haggerty has himself a stolen base. And Valdez, I'll tell you this, in between a couple of times that we saw already, he's just been very slow to delivering this pitch. And for whatever was told in between Scott Service and the rest of the staff, they're picking up on Valdez right now, and they are not afraid to go. Haggerty now with his 9 out of 10, 90% on the stolen bases side of it, made that one look a little easy. So now there's a runner in scoring position, and this will be for J.P. Crawford. So Caballero, they're going to say he offered at it. So J.P. Crawford has done the only damage of this game so far. And a sinker that did catch the black did not get the call. It was an inside sinker that was able to catch all of the bat for J.P. He stayed with it nicely, put it down right field just away from the foul pole. 89. And this one is in. J.P. now ahead 2-0. And if you're Framber, I know this is almost half jokingly, do you want to walk J.P.? But then you got to face Julio. You kind of feel like you got to go after him here. 42 pitches into his day, so it's not been easy here for Framber so far. And jackknifing out of the way of the sinker is J.P. Crawford. Make it 3-0. What does Dusty Baker want to do here? Again, they said on the Root Sports side, I couldn't agree more. But Framber just doesn't look sharp here. But again, it's only one run. He's kept his team in the game, but it's not been very economical. 3-0 pitch. Again, he'll back away on it. That was a borderline anyway at the top of the zone, but he does get the call, and Framber's honestly earned it. Tight strike zone tonight, says OT. Absolutely agree with you, my friend. That's what I'm seeing here at this point. 88 miles an hour. That one looked like it might have caught the black. But J.P. Crawford draws the walk. Yes, indeed, the strike zone is tight, my friend, because Valdez, I know he's wanted the call. In the first inning, he was showing the body language. In the second inning, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw my pitches, and whether or not you call it, we're just going to have to let it have the battle lines be drawn. So Julio Rodriguez now up to the dish with Crawford at first. You got Haggerty at second. It's 2 outs. Seattle one more time with runners in scoring position looking to do damage. And Julio Rodriguez follows it down the first base line. So it was just a solo bomb for JP in the first. Now Julio's got runners at first and second in the second. His last opportunity was a walk, and he also had a stolen base. So already a couple stolen bases against Valdez. Again, 31 bombs and 102 RBI. Rodriguez rocking the neon green cleats with the pink lightning bolt on the side of those cleats on that. It looks pretty sweet, not going to lie to you. It kind of looks like a sour gummy worm as far as what the color is going to be on those cleats. 0-2 is Julio here. You're going to have to dig in. We'll see if Valdez is going to want to dance around the plate or if he's going to want to go right after J-Rod. He'll take his disengagement and he'll ask for a new baseball. Again, I'm not surprised at this point because Valdez is halfway almost to 100, and he's not looked comfortable here. Yes, the strike zone, as we talk about, especially 0-2-63 with the comment out there, he's right. It has looked tight, but Valdez has been all over it. 0-2. And he got Julio chasing, but they're going to have to reach and throw over. Is able to get that one in time was Maldonado. And the Mariners are turned away. After 2, still 1-0 Imps.
It's Ford SUVs here. Time to gear up for adventure, on or off-road. Get great deals on our capable lineup of Ford SUVs, including Ford Explorer, Ford Bronco Sport, and Ford Edge.
We get to the next couple innings. Beginning of the fourth, I'll give you the scoreboard watch around the league. I'm just saving the pipes for solo call today. And then we will be back next week for 2 or 3 games. I'm going to cover an entire wild card series. Once we get the schedule figured out on the Monday side of what's going to be played, I will let you know what I am covering. I'll throw that on Twitter and the X Spaces as well as YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
I just wanted to remind you that Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. In fact, it's so easy. It reminds me of a joke my mate told me. Now, a knuckle and a catcher walk into a ball. Get it? Wow, I really like that one.
It's easy to Geico, official partner of Major League Baseball.
From Central.
A couple of good innings early for Bryce Miller. 3 strikeouts. Walk us through the at-bat to Brantley. Well, the Brantley, we talked about it was the fastball for him, and it's thrown. I think it was 5 in a row to Brantley. There you can see it. They finally catches up when it's a double down the line. Veteran hitter. They tried to get beat him at the top of the zone, didn't work out for him, but then move on, and that hitter he comes in, and that's when he started to mix it up a little bit more. You see the sinker in there. There's a slider that he used, also the sweeper to go along with the fastball. So I think that's more what we should be seeing from Bryce, especially the second time through the lineup.
A double for Brantley, the only base hit through 2 innings for the Astros. Pena,
So Pena is going to hit this one off the end of the bat, and Bryce Miller able to cover the bag in time. And that is how we start the top of the 3rd inning. 1 pitch, 1 out there for Jeremy Pena. And before we go to the top of the order, I'll bring up Martin Maldonado. Maldonado, as we talked about yesterday, is not in there for hitting, but he can surprise you with home run power. He's got 14 on a 193 average. So don't throw a lollipop right down the middle of the zone, but you can also get some strikeouts if you can at least work the plate a little bit. So you would expect for a lineup that's not easy to get outs on, the Maldonado is something you have to bank, but you got to be smart about it still. 95, and this one is taken for a strike. Again, the 36-year-old is going to be the primary catcher. Don't know for how much longer. Yainer Diaz, who took that sinker inside the knee from Justin Topa, he's not playing in this game. And then Andres Munoz, Smoked Shaz McCormick with a pitch right in the back. He's not playing in this game. Maldonado said, hey, wait a minute. That 95 fastball caught the just inside of the black, and you called that one a strike when Valdez isn't getting those calls, and he wanted to make sure he had a meeting with the home plate umpire. Make it 0-2 against Martin. 1 for 4 against Bryce Miller. 0-2 pitch here for Bryce. He's been pretty economical so far. Valdez is not, but he's only given up 1. This one is spiked in the dirt off the changeup. Now make it 1-2. Jose Altuve will be next as we'll go through the second time of the order here. Still early into this game. John Under with you on a solo call between T-Mobile Park and Seattle, Washington. The roof is closed. There's been a lot of rain over the last couple days. Again, I was also wondering, because when I do these broadcasts, I want to make sure that I stay away from any rain delays. Because if I'm sitting around, it'd be one thing if I was getting paid to actually do the games. Working for a team, I'd sit all day long and cover the game happily. But when I'm just at the house and I'm trying to give you games and updates, nothing worse than sitting around. Don't want to be doing that now. So this, thankfully, everything else is closed. No worry about any rain. 43-30 on the road this season is Houston, 610 win percentage, third best in MLB. As this one is lifted high, right field line. Teoscar is going to get chased back up the warning track, but he's got it. 2 up and 2 down. Jose Altuve, 311, 17 bombs, 49 RBI, 66 walks, 75 runs scored, and 13 stolen bases, I should say. Again, those numbers, I think I need to put a 1 next to the strikeout instead of 25 on that end, but sometimes I'll get those numbers wrong when I do the notes a little bit in a hurry. Just happy to have you guys along. What's going on, my friend? We'll throw you in here because I know this is a little bit of a solo call. If things get out of hand, I can also reverse it on that end, but just be happy to have a guest in here. So 0-1 against Altuve now as Miller set to deliver the sinker. This one's way out of the zone. Make it 1-1 against Altuve. 314 averages we said for Jose. Had 3 hits in last night's game. This one is a nice single past a diving J.P. Crawford. And again, Altuve, he has been all over it so far, and he was able to get another one. J.P. Crawford, very slow to get to his feet, but I think he probably just knocked the wind out of himself trying to pick that one up. That was a 95 sinker that was just caught inside the zone, and he got the bat head on it beautifully. 5 for 11 in this series is Jose, and he keeps it alive for Alex Bregman. So Bregman now with Altuve at first. You want to make sure the Astros, again, they don't want to run themselves into any more outs. They've been doing that over the last couple of games. So I would have to imagine that Altuve is going to be tethered right where he is as Bregman takes strike 1 on a sinker. 44 pitches now into Bryce's day. 5 seconds to go on the pitch clock. The last appearance was a walk. And this is 87. This one does miss the plate. And now the strike zone might start to get corrected, especially after Maldonado had a meeting with the home plate umpire. On the MLB RotoWire lineups, I'll see if I can get the names of the umpires here, but it doesn't look like they have those on that side. 1-1 is the count. 259 average for Bregman. 87. That's a perfect pitch for Bryce. And Alex Bregman said, "Are you sure about that one?" He said, "Yep." And that one did just catch the top left part of the strike zone. 1-2 now. The crowd is getting to their feet here at T-Mobile Park in Washington. They want the Mariners to go 10-3 in the season series, but the Astros can do a lot of damage. But this is hit to Suarez. Easy toss over. The second base back for Caballero, and Bryce does the job. We go to the 4th. Seattle's still up 1-0.
For more than a century, people have been getting in a Ford vehicle and getting out there, strengthening our communities. We believe that you do.
And Jonathan, if you are there, my friend, I threw you in there. You can definitely leave your thoughts during this commercial breaks.
Yeah, man. This is a good game, man.
What are you expecting to see tonight?
mean, I expect the Jazz to not be in the lineup today, you know, as they're getting drilled in the back. But, man, I'm a Houston fan, and we don't lose tonight. Hey, we're going to depend on y'all. We're going to depend on Seattle.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. I'm doing this broadcast. I'm actually from Michigan on this side. I've been doing a couple of these broadcasts to get back into play-by-play for myself. I've just been following it because these two teams are right in the thick of it. And as you said, going into this, after this series is done, it's not going to get any easier for Houston because they're playing against the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3 who are fighting for their lives. So when we get into the next inning off the YouTube side, I got Jonathan with me here as a guest. I know he was reaching out for as a Houston fan for yesterday when I was doing the broadcast with Alec. This is a solo one for me today. We get to the next inning, I will give you some scoreboard watching around the league. Again, I thought about doing the Tigers game today, but it was kind of postponed to rain. I will be at Comerica Park this weekend to see Miguel Cabrera one last time. Next week, it will be a wild card series for me in its entirety, 2 or 3 games. And then the following week is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, start of the NHL season. So I'm back on the broadcast for good here up until the foreseeable part of the summer. So you can expect the YouTube side, Twitter, and X Spaces to be covered. John Ott is my name. We are at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington for the 4th inning. It's just a 1-0 lead for Seattle. Both of these teams, again, we mentioned it yesterday when Alec was in here, both these teams need this game very badly, and we'll see the way that this continues. So we'll get back into the official play-by-play here. Eugenio Suarez is batting 3rd in the order. Again, the lineup looks a little bit different for both teams in comparison to yesterday. Suarez, Hernandez, and Dylan Moore, 3-4-5. Due up as this is a grand cut for Suarez, and he's going to be down quickly 0-2. Again, I mentioned this a couple times in the broadcast already, but it bears repeating as Valdez is going to work into pitch number 50, halfway to 100 now. Got to be a little more efficient here. It's just 1 run against him, but this is a guy that can absolutely be a stopper. Again, I mentioned I got to watch Justin Verlander for a long time in Detroit, now with Houston for several years, and then brought back again. It can't just be the JV Express. You got to expect Frommer to be able to shut it down. He can definitely do so we can continue to lock in and just get at least 6 innings, I would think, tonight. That's a perfect pitch, and he does not get the call, is Valdez. And I got to believe, again, he showed a little more frustration in the first, but now he just laughs with himself, and I find that hard to believe he doesn't get a punch out there. 2-2. Suarez still alive. And this one is way out of the zone with the curveball. You'd think there might be a makeup at some point. That's got to be what's in Valdez's head, but he can't concentrate on that at this point. Teoscar Hernandez is due up next. Full count pitch awaiting as the pitch clock is down to 1. Valdez gets it off in time, and Eugenio Suarez obliges. Could add a walk, but Valdez gets the punch out anyway, and the devastating curve. 1 up, 1 down. So for Teoscar, 263, 26 bombs, 92 RBI, 69 runs scored, 202 strikeouts for the 30-year-old. Again, this lineup is not quite what the Toronto Blue Jays have been over the last couple of seasons, but his numbers have perked up over the month and a half when Seattle got hot. And then they started to lose a little bit to Texas. It was Houston dropping 5 out of 6 to the Kansas City Royals. Both of these teams have been going a little bit in the wrong direction of late. Texas is trying to rebound after pretty much not getting any sort of pitching help. Texas is a type of team that can score 10 runs in a given game, but they have no pitching. So even if Texas makes it, which everyone expects them to do, how far are they going to go is the question, and how many of the teams in the AL West will join them in the playoffs? Because there is a lot left to be done, and it's not even a given at this point. I know Alex said it yesterday, but considering the Yankees punched the Blue Jays right in the mouth again, it's not a given for the Blue Jays to get into the postseason at this point. 0-2 against Teoscar, a couple of curveballs. and a third straight one. So the Yellowhammer's working out well. I mean, back-to-back punchies here for Valdez. That was the lock-in I've been waiting for. This has been his best inning so far. So Dylan Moore now. 203 average. He's going to get the spot start. He's more of a defensive specialist. He can play everywhere. He's got a good glove and he's got some speed. He's going to have to be known for his eye. He was able to draw a walk. That's another good curveball. So now there is no question what Valdez, his primary offering here is going to be the not quite 12-6. It's just a standard curveball here, not straight down. But he's featuring that quite well right now as they caught the bottom of the plate. Sinker, this one gets the call at the bottom of the strike zone. It was a strike nonetheless. I've seen him throw it there about 5-6 times already and have that being called the ball. So Valdez certainly locked in now, trying to get this done with less than 60 pitches. About 20 per wouldn't be so bad. It'd be a hell of a rebound. This one, this is fair down the left field line for Dylan Moore. He's racing into second, and Brantley will have to play this off the left side of the wall, just where the crowd would be, and he's going to get a double. I thought that might have been borderline there, but he was able to get his bat head out in front of an off-speed pitch and just have enough control to keep it fair. Bregman had a good effort off the dive, but this is going to be a double here for Dylan. Bregman almost got to it. Maybe another inch and a half there. He would have been able to make the catch, but you still would have had to throw that over there from third to first, and that's not easy. Ty France, he will get a fastball right down the middle, and he's going to be a little upset with himself. He's a little late on that one. 97, make it 0-1. He's batting 6th in the order, was 7th last night. He had a big home run, be able to give the Mariners a key part to get that win, but nonetheless, you can thank George Kirby for 6 scoreless. Ty France waiting on the 0-1. Again, this is chopped in off the hands. Pena will take a stab at it. Easy toss over to Abreu, and the Mariners are turned away. After 3, it's 1-0.
For more than a century, people have been getting in a Ford vehicle and getting out there, strengthening our communities. We believe what you do with your Ford vehicle is what makes it.
I know, Sean, you threw that out there as far as surprise. Hockey's not in season yet, so I'm going to stay away from the preseason games, and we're going to work toward more of a postseason push and everything else before we get into it. I do still cover basketball, hockey, baseball, and college stuff like that. But when we do get in the regular season between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in the middle of October, I will be all over that. As far as my schedule on that side, the Tuesday is going to be the banner night of the Vegas Golden Knights against the Seattle Kraken. And then Wednesday, I'll be with Cooper Hopkins. It's going to be the Winnipeg Jets and Calgary Flames as he gets to see the Flames in the home opener. We might split off on that one. And then Thursday, local time for me. I went on my college buddy, Don Tottingham. I think he's going to work the Red Wings game with me with the Devils. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that will be in the middle of October. I'm just going to go ahead and give you those dates right now. For those that care or are listening in on that side, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That is what the hockey coverage will start. So about 2 weeks away here. Next week is going to be some low card baseball. And then once we get past the 4th, I'll give you a scoreboard update. A lot of the stuff has gone final.
Now, during Toyota's truck and SUV month, you can get 3.99 APR financing on.
Jonathan and Sean, I appreciate you guys listening in on that side, and thank you for anybody on the YouTube side as well. Yes, I am back for good for a long time. This will be at least through the summertime until the end of the Stanley Cup Finals. I'll be working with the Waterford Sharks with the local side for semi-pro hockey, but still, it's been a good warm-up here for a couple days, and then we get into playoff baseball, and then get back into the regular stream of it. So maybe some Saturdays and Sundays I won't be around, but expect from me at least 2 or 3 of these every week going forward. So Yordan Alvarez, as we're the second time through the order here, it's the top of the fourth. Still a 1-0 game. This one has been much more of a nail biter so far. Bryce Miller is going to have to keep his everything clean right now. I really don't know what else to say on that side because, again, this Astros lineup can strike at any moment. I'm anticipating that to happen with Yordan Alvarez. You can't keep him away for too long before he strikes. And he missiled one. Dead center field, gone! Yordan Alvarez with a solo shot. I felt like I called it, but he just felt like it was only a matter of time. The Astros have tied it. 116 miles an hour, 442 feet would have been gone in every ballpark. That was absolutely detonated. That's middle away there. That's right in the happy zone. And for somebody like Yordan, look, I'll be honest with you. I think flat out, if you're going to talk about best hitter in baseball, if you put Yordan Alvarez below a top 5, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I think he really is that good. It doesn't matter. He's just one of the best pure hitters in all of baseball. Just one run. That's what you got to be thinking if you're Miller on this side, but you better keep it at that because, again, the Astros, they can certainly turn this around in a hurry. And all they need to do is get one more win. You think maybe get 2 out of 3 here against the Arizona Diamondbacks, might find themselves in a playoff spot. That's about as simple as it is for the Mariners, as this one is a can of corn that's going to be caught there for more, and Tucker is put away. But you would think for the Mariners, not only do they have to win this game, they might have to win the next at least 3 out of 4 against Texas to be able to get in. So you got to minimize the damage if you're both pitchers. So far, that's what's been done. But Yordan Alvarez is just taking Bryce Miller deep. Jose Abreu is due up now with 1 out in the top of the 4th. This is a curveball high. And just look at it is Abreu, and he'll dig back in with those gold chains and the open shirt collar. He's also got the swagger game on max, is Jose Abreu. He's really been rounding into form here. Again, you know he was a consummate professional with the White Sox. I know there was always a lot of turmoil going in that locker room, even with Tony La Russa or whatever else now that he's been gone. But what I mean by that is 30 bombs, 100 RBI. Pencil it in every year. That's what Abreu is going to be able to give you. Even at the advanced stage now, you know he's going to give you a professional at that and give you some power. Speaking of that, it's a center field single past Caballero. And Rodriguez will play on a hop. And the Astros starting to get some intrigue here on Miller's pitches. And we'll see if that continues. So 6:40 local time in Seattle. Again, that's in the Pacific time zone. I'm in the East myself. That would be a 9:40 start. But I'm going to be done for the rest of the week as far as the broadcast. So I'll have to get a hold of my friend Cooper Hopkins on the local side for Seattle and see if he wants to do this broadcast. I reached out to him today, and he said, you know what? He's wearing too much of his heart on his sleeve with Seattle. He can't bring himself to watch it. Otherwise, he'd be joining me today to be able to give you the play-by-play and color read, switch up like yesterday as I did with Alec. Again, that's his hometown team for Cooper Hopkins. He will be back with me on that side when the hockey season starts, when the Flames and the Jets get off in a couple of weeks. But maybe if Seattle does get in the postseason, he'll be happy enough to join. But I know he's sweating bullets here. They showed the trade that went across the screen. I couldn't believe it myself. That Damian Lillard went to the Bucks. And I don't know if, again, the Trailblazers got as much as they could have if they would have traded Damian Lillard a few years ago, but that trade's done. Drew Holiday now on the Suns. DeAndre Ayton also a member of the Bucks. So a little bit different of a look. Or excuse me, he is a member of the Trailblazers. All they got on the other end for the Bucks side was Damian. So a 4-seamer to Brantley makes it 0-1. Batting 6 in the order is 1 for 1 with a double, trying to come through here. See if the Astros can take the lead in the top of the 4th. That would sound good to them. Fastball way down in the zone. We'll do it again as Kyle Raleigh will make the toss back to Bryce. Bryce has been good. He's been a little bit more efficient than Fromber has at this point, but all that really matters is the score is tied. 279, 2 bombs, 6 RBI. I still trust Brantley to be able to get a hit in these situations. This is a ground ball. This is fair into the hole, and this will get the runner to third. 3 straight hits for the Houston Astros have runners in the corners, and now this can be trouble for the Seattle Mariners if there ever is a need for a shutdown time. Still early into this broadcast, it's got to start right now. And maybe a couple of these are hit them right where they ain't, but this is baseball. Again, the Yordan Alvarez, you just hit it out of the ballpark, but the rest of these were able to just get past Bryce Miller, but make contact and just zone in. And that's what they've been doing it right now, and you'll leave it to Mauricio Dubon. So Dubon is taking the replace of Chas McCormick here, who took a shot to the back from Andres Munoz. It was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball directly to the back. And again, when I talk about Jonathan, when he exchanged some messages on the X space on that end, I don't think either one of us were surprised that it was going to be, thankfully, only listed as day-to-day for Astros fans, because you could talk about Chas McCormick and Kyle Tucker being the best outfielder, but Chas got the most speed. He's a guy that's going to command everything in center field. Dubon launches deep. Is this going to bounce off the wall? No, it's gone. A 3-run shot for Mauricio Dubon, and the Astros have a 4-1 lead. A couple of moonshots, and the Astros have finally found pay dirt against Bryce Miller, and maybe now they are not going to relinquish anything. That was a huge cruise missile, and that was an off-speed pitch. It was a hanger in the happy zone, and Dubon, he did not miss it. Absolutely blasted the pitch in the left field past the 376 sign, and the Astros, they have really blown this open now, as Bryce knows that when he threw that pitch, he was likely not getting it back. Over 5 runs a game right now, already 2 bombs, and the Astros have taken a 4-1 lead. So we'll have to see now in the bottom of the inning if the Mariners can bounce back into this. This one would have been gone, but this is foul. So immediate action here for Scott Service. Justin Topa was not sharp yesterday, and Justin Topa is the first guy out of the bullpen. And essentially here, I know this is getting ahead of myself, but let me just say it now. If the Mariners don't come back to win this game, they're 1-8 against Texas in the season series. That is not good. They play them in the final 4 games of the season. And if they can't at least take 3 out of 4 against Texas, I know it's a little bit of spitballing, because you have to imagine Houston might take at least 2 out of 3 against Arizona. That's going to be tough. That's going to be what the margin's going to have to be if they don't come back to win this game. They're in the final week of the regular season, and that could have absolutely been a kill shot already just in the top 4. It's now 4-1. So Pena turned away, and it's going to be Martin Maldonado. As the second time through the order, Bryce Miller could not get away from the damage. Root Sports had opened this part of the broadcast saying that Miller, against his childhood team, did not give up a run against the Astros in 2 straight starts. And I had to think in the back of my mind going through this, well, it's only a matter of time. And certainly that's been the case. So now Valdez, we're talking about some of the struggles. He kept it to 1 run. Now Miller's already ahead of that pitch count. He's given up 4. And this crowd at T-Mobile Park is going to be sitting on their thumbs. 1-1. Fastball. Again, this is in a dangerous part of the zone. Bryce Miller is starting to make a lot of mistakes in that zone that's catching the fat part of the plate. And he's already had to pay for it in 2 and 4 runs. Someone else also joining Justin Topa in the bullpen. When they get that relayed to me, I'll throw that over there. Looks like Gabe Spire already. Gabe Spire is one of those guys, and toward the 6th and 7th, he's already getting warm now. So the sense of desperation for Seattle is high. Did Maldonado offer at it? No, he did not, as they checked down the first base line. So for those of you that have, when I asked the question on the YouTube side, who wins tonight's game. You both have the Mariners up to 2 votes. Might want to flip that one so far, unless the Mariners can have some type of bounce back. So Bryce Miller gets the punch out, but not before he surrenders 4 runs. We go to the bottom 4. Houston's now got the lead, 4-1.
Travis, did you know you can get this season's COVID-19 shot when you get your flu shot?
Well, Jonathan, my friend, if you're still in here on the space side, you got to be breathing a sigh of relief and feeling a little bit better, don't you?
Yes, sir. Hey, what is your YouTube? What is y'all's YouTube channel? I'll like it.
It's just the same as my name now, John Ryan Ott. That's just my channel. So if you just give that a follow if you want to. My camera doesn't. My camera doesn't sound all that great.
I'll definitely, I'm telling my Houston Astros fans they need to come over here, man.
I appreciate that because you know what? And I'm not just blowing smoke. If the Astros make the postseason, I was thinking about doing the Lone Star Series between Texas and Houston. So
That's good.
I think that's the one that I'm probably going to eye because I think that one's going to have the most intrigue because I know both of those offenses are going to explode.
Yes, sir.
We'll get all those particulars squared away on the before the Monday side. I know I got to do the football scores and all that stuff on Sunday, but we'll get that all squared away. I'll get the times and I'll post all that stuff on Twitter Space and the YouTube and Facebook and all that, so everybody knows what I'm covering. I always make sure I throw that now that we're back in the part of the season. Make sure everybody knows just in case they want to join in.
Second most ever. He's got a very realistic chance of besting Ed Vandenberg 78 in 1982.
So the show on Matt Brash on the Root Sports side, 69 innings, 287 ERA, 105 strikeouts, third most all time from a Seattle Mariners reliever. Again, I'm just going to be honest with you as an outside observer looking in it for Houston. When I'm thinking about that trade to the D-backs, I know they got Dominic Canzone and Josh Rojas. When they traded away Paul Sewald, I kind of scratched my head because it's like, that's your closer, that's your primary. What kind of run are you going to go on? And then Seattle was hot for a month and a half, and now they kind of fallen apart a little bit over the last. And Houston's lost some games they shouldn't, as Valdez will spike a curveball way off his hands. He kind of laughs at that one and will do it again. So for the official part of the recorder side, Valdez just lost the handle of the curve, but no matter. This will be done again with a 1-0 count. Cal Raleigh is up at the dish now as we're going to be going through the third time in the order here shortly. 7, 8, and 9 due up. This one will be slammed foul, make it 1-1. Again, Cal Raleigh's hit some memorable home runs, one that got Seattle into the postseason last year. He is batting 7th in the order. He's kind of flip-flopped with Ty France from yesterday. Now Valdez has some runs to work with, and we know that he can be an absolute stopper. Again, early in this contest, it was just 1 run, so he was able to stay in it. He had to fight through some command issues and some tough luck, let's be fair, about what's been called in the strike zone. He had a couple borderline tight strike zone pitches, but in between Verlander and Valdez, those are your spearheads of your rotation, and Valdez is looking like that now. And now that he's got the 3-run lead, I don't expect him to relinquish it. And I would think of the back-end bullpen, especially with Ryan Presley as a closer, should be lock and key. We still got plenty of baseball to play, but I do think Valdez is going to give at least a solid 6 tonight. That's just what I'm feeling. 65 pitches into the day. 1 and 2 is the count. If it ends up being the Lone Star Series, I think one of the people that's going to be in with my play-by-play side might be Pro Texas, so I hope things don't get a little too heated on that end. This one goes off the end of the bat. Kyle Tucker into a dive. And for the 3rd time, unless they're going to say he didn't catch it, did this one go in off the glove hand? Let me make sure and get this call officially. So he's down to a knee. It did bounce. So almost for a 3rd time in the last 2 days, he almost made another diving catch. This one does bounce in front of him but I almost thought King Tuck made the catch again. Boy, is he really good at that. And I imagine a lot of Houston Astros fans, and even for myself, I know I'm in the outskirts looking in, and I don't want to sit and call names about it. This one goes in off the hands. I'll have to hold my thought for a minute. And now the Mariners have runners at first and second. So Sam Haggerty has had a nice day so far. Got a walk, got a base hit, and a stolen base, and Cal Raleigh followed with a base hit. I know all the stuff that's been swirling around Houston over the last few years, but I will say this. Kyle Tucker, and I'm being completely honest here, is one of my favorite players in all of baseball. And to have him sign that extension there for the Astros, I think every fan was jumping up and down and celebrating completely because I think he's one of the best players in all of baseball. Well, at least the most well-rounded in all of baseball as well. He can do everything and also steal bases. So we'll see if Jose Caballero can come through. The Astros scored 4, and now Seattle must respond. I think they'd have to get at least 2, if we're being completely honest, make it feel like it's a complete ball game. You can scratch away and do those fence post runs and get 1 every inning, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. Valdez will request another baseball, as he's going to be 70 pitches into his day. This will be the pot of water starting to get warm here. Caballero's not a threat to go deep. He's only got 4 bombs, but you never know. Shatters the bat. Toss over to second. They cannot get 2. So Pena gets it over to Altuve. He'll get 1, get the lead runners, so to speak. It'll be runners at first and third. The double play is still open, but J.P. Crawford, who's been the hottest Mariner hitter so far, he opened the game with a solo bomb and a pitch way inside, and then he got a walk. So he's been a mini terror so far. Julio Rodriguez, if Crawford reaches, would be next. We'll see if Crawford's got another one in him. 6 leadoff home runs this season, career high 18. A changeup gets the call. So that one was way out of the zone. For the first time I can say for Valdez, he got one that he probably should have deserved from before, but we'll see how many times before it's equal. 0-1. As he gets a look over, the tying run is at the plate, and a curveball buzzes the tower of Crawford as he's got to back his head away. So the intrigue continues to mount here. And I don't know if that's just a show-me pitch. It's no Roger Clemens there. I think it just slipped right out of his hands for Valdez. But it's the second time that the curveball has slipped right out of the hands. He did that before for Kyle Raleigh, with nobody on base. 1-1. This is a little bit outside of the zone with the sinker. Swollen to 2-1. So Crawford's had a nice eye. If you're Seattle right now and you're Crawford, you cannot afford. I mean, if you hit into a double play, that'd be tough luck. But you got to find your pitch and drive it at this point. You can't go for something outside the zone. 2-1, but not before a disengagement. Toss over to first. You get 1 more of those. And then after that, it would have to be an automatic out and get. Otherwise, they're going to take the next base. Mariners runs in this series. They had 1 in game 1, 6 in game 2. They got 1 now. They have 4 to the Astros in the top of the 4th inning. Braves came back in the 10th inning to top the Cubs. Braves are already in it, but that's brutal for the Cubs. They lost some wild card positioning. Spiked into the dirt, but a great block for Martin Maldonado. Still swells the count to 3-1. 94 miles an hour. J-Rod is due up next. The crowd getting anxious now. They're getting to their feet. Again, even for Astros fans, you feel a little bit clammy in the hands. I know it's regular season, but I mean, you're about a half game away from the wild card, and this is a Jenga tower here. You take one of those planks away, you could knock down the whole foundation. Walk! J.P. Crawford and Julio Rodriguez is coming to the dish with the bases loaded. So the intrigue is upon us here, and Dusty Baker is now on that top step. And the Houston Astros pitching coach is going to come back out there and make sure they get everything situated with what they want to do with Julio Rodriguez. I will say this. Julio Rodriguez, as everybody knows, again, this is no secret, has got the power. but I would not be surprised, I'm throwing it out there, if he throws down a bunt. He's got the speed to do it. If you're thinking about the MLB show version, you're talking about in the 0 to 100 percentile, Julio Rodriguez probably in the 95 percentile as far as speed. He's one of the fastest that they have. 12 of 19 of first pitch strikes for Vomber, about 63%. He's going to want to get that now, try to get ahead of Julio Rodriguez. And if you're Julio, I know it's hard to only have one thing on your mind, but I can't believe anything other than that. He's trying to drive this out of the ballpark or at least get a double somewhere. Takes it off the plate. 1-0 for J-Rod. He's going to take an extra deep breath. 77 pitches into Valdez's day. Nothing probably more pressure than this, as a disengagement was used. A balk! Are they calling a balk against Valdez? No, that's what they're saying on the Root Sports side. My apologies. They jumped ahead of it. I have the TV feed in front of me. That's what they were calling. They almost got me to jump out of my seat. No balk. Again, we can all settle down here. 76 pitches. I didn't even see him deliver anything. I don't know how they would call that. 1-0. And up the hands. And we'll do it again 1-1. One career Grandy, July 15, 2022, off Jose Leclerc of the Texas Rangers. I don't see that happening here, but you never know. If you're Valdez, you cannot afford to make a mistake. I would have to imagine he's not going to at this point. It's going to be sinkers in the dirt. Going to try to get those worm killers here, maybe turn 2. If you only give up 1, that's okay. Perfect pitch in on the hands. Had to offer at it anyway, and even if Julio put it in play, it's probably going to be an out. 1-2. Just about to throw the 80th pitch for Valdez. And again, he's requesting yet another baseball. This is the 7th time that I've seen Valdez do that this game. He's had to work, but the Mariners have only been able to work him for 1 run, courtesy of a J.P. Crawford solo shot. There was a couple of shots for the Houston Astros and Yordan Alvarez. Curveball way out of the zone, make it 2-2. Yordan Alvarez with a solo shot. Mauricio Dubon with a 3-run variety. They made it 4-1. That's where we stand now in the bottom of the 4th. John are with you at T-Mobile Park in Washington. Anxious Mariners fans are standing up and waving the towels now. J-Rod's their hero. He's got to come through here at this point. And for the Astros, they're looking to settle it down quietly. And that is a curve in the dirt. A gorgeous pitch for Valdez. And he gets J-Rod. 200 strikeouts this season. First career part of the season were 200 plus for Fromber. And I feel like that's going to add at least with 1 more start. Again, as I'm looking on the Wednesday side of it, you're thinking the wild card. I might be getting ahead of myself. He might be the numero uno starter with an extra day with JV on that end for the wild card for Houston. That's probably what it looks like, at least JV or Frommer to start it. You probably have to roll with Hunter Brown and whoever else as they're going along against Arizona. Still got to get away from Eugenio Suarez here. It's either a walk, a strikeout, or a home run. That's usually what Eugenio does. 1-0. Gino puts a single. Is this going to score 2 runs? Throw to the plate is cut off, and the Mariners make it 4-3. It's a 2-run single and a 1-run game for the Mariners now. The former Tiger, the Cincinnati Red, and now the Seattle Mariner, Eugenio Suarez, makes it a 1-run game. He caught a sinker off the outside of the plate. He got the bat head to it perfectly, and he stroked it past a diving Jeremy Pena to score a couple of runs. And now we have a ball game once again, although the Houston Astros are still up by 1. But this is the intrigue that I've been waiting on in this game, and this is kind of why I circled this game off back-to-back nights. I know Jonathan was reaching out as far as me covering this game again. He said, you know what the hell? Let's do this again because I feel like it's going to be good, and it definitely has been. Teoscar, this is flipped, and that was almost inconspicuous there. I didn't know if Pena was going to be able to get the flip in time to Altuve, but he does so. Mariners score twice. Houston still got the lead. It's 4-3 after 4. Boy, oh boy, buckle your seatbelts. So, now that I've given the recorder a break, I think it's time. Let's go into the scores around the league. As we've said, of what's suspended, it's going to be a doubleheader. Going to resume at 1:10 tomorrow. With the Tigers and the Royals, it's 4-0. Again, I know that doesn't have playoff implications, but it'll be Miguel Cabrera's last time at Comerica Park. Through this season, I will be there on the Saturday side to see the Hall of Famer one last time. The finals here for you. We'll get into those before the ones in progress. Couple big ones. Miami was pretty PO'd last night that the game wasn't played. A little bit too much rain. It was postponed. Mets did take game 1 11-2. Looks like the Diamondbacks, they're able to improve their wildcard positioning. They go 3-0 against the White Sox. The Guardians take a critical game over the Reds. Guardians have no hopes of making the playoffs, but they can spoil it for the crosstown rivals on that side in the Battle of Ohio. Guardians take it 4-3. Rays all over the Red Sox. They improve their positioning. They want to try to win the division, but the Orioles have other ideas. They also get a 5-1 win over the Nationals. Phillies, they edge out the Pirates. They win 7-6. They're locked into WC1, I believe that's the case. Blue Jays drop a game as it's not looking good for them over the last couple. They got to right the ship. Yankees again close them out. It was 2-0 yesterday, 6-0 now. Cubs drop a critical game. They had the lead. Braves came all the way back. Bottom 10, they win 6-5. Cubs still in the middle of the National League wildcard chase. Twins, they get the win over the Athletics 6-4. They've already claimed the AL Central, and the Brewers have claimed the NL Central. They get a 3-2 victory over the Cards. Games in progress, notwithstanding with ours. It's top 5. Astros are leading 4-3. The Rangers trying to bounce back, getting humiliated from the Angels last night. They're up 2-0. I believe it was an Adolis Garcia 2-run bomb the last time I checked. And the Giants are beating the Padres. Again, some people will laugh at that. I might be one of those with a low-key smile, but when you have Tatis, I know Machado's hurt now, but you got Hader, you got all the other pieces, Juan Soto. They're not even going to make the playoffs. They're losing the Giants in the middle of the 6th. Giants will be due up. So Gabe Spire is the new pitcher. Bryce Miller had given up 4 runs in 4 innings. Framber Valdez is on the hook for 3 runs right now. I don't think Framber's night is done, but Bryce's night is done. We go back to the top of the order again, this time the third time around. Second time around did some damage, starting with Yordan Alvarez and a salvo, a 3-run variety for Mauricio Dubon. Gave the Astros a 4-0 lead. And then Eugenio Suarez, or 4-1 lead at the time. Eugenio Suarez responded with a 2-run single as a J.P. Crawford solo jack to start the game, a leadoff variety. It was 1-0, then 4-1, and now 4-3 as we're at the top 5. And Altuve's got the count in his favor, 2-1. Altuve had been excellent in this series, all singles, but it doesn't matter. 5 for 11 in this series. 335 against righties with 14 bombs and 46 RBI, as this one is a perfect pitch for Spire. And absolutely here, the Seattle Mariners and their bullpen, I know the Astros can do it there, especially with Phil Maton, and on the other end with Ryan Presley as the closer. I know that they can close it out. But Seattle, I would give the slight edge of the bullpen. But as far as clutch hitting, you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to go all Astros on that side, because when you have guys like Altuve, Bregman, Tucker, Alvarez, I don't want to shortchange Dubon or even Jeremy Pena from his last year postseason run, but give me those guys all day long to be able to get the job done. 2-2 pitch doesn't offer at it was Altuve. He's going to have to check that one. He did not go. This one got spiked in the dirt and past the backstop. Doesn't matter, though, because nobody was on the top of the 5th. John Under with you. T-Mobile Park in Washington. I got a Houston Astros fan in here with me, and Jonathan. He's let me do the play-by-play, so nothing stepping on any toes here. He's just listening in, and I appreciate that. Also on the YouTube space at John Reinott and Twitter and X Spaces on the same side. Altuve, he's going to get another hit. This one's going to split the gap. This is going to be much more than a single. We'll see if he can get anything more than a double. No, he's going to slide safely back to second, put that right in the middle of Teoscar Hernandez and Julio Rodriguez. And Jose Altuve, ever since coming back through a couple of the injuries that have plagued him from the beginning, man, he just seems hotter than a firecracker, but that's what you expect for Altuve. And again, for someone for his size, I know we talk about it all the time, and I'm not talking about everything else that's been going through the history. He's just got so much power. He's always on the baseball. If he has to shoot it one way and play it all fields, he can. And if he can absolutely lift it in the Crawford boxes when they're in Houston, you watch that train go by, he can do that too. So Bregman now has got Altuve at second. Again, from the first inning side, it was runner getting punched out off of a stolen base. Not going to see that happening anymore, I would think. I think Dusty Baker is going to keep that to Holt. And now Spire will only have to concentrate on Bregman. He's got to do so now. This is a curveball down the right field line. Will this stay in play? Yes, it will. Teoscar Hernandez able to make the catch. It's going to advance Jose Altuve, so it'll work as a sacrifice fly of sorts. And this could give a good opportunity for the Houston Astros to at least scratch one more run after the Mariners just answered with 2 of their own. It's a 4-3 game on the top of the 5th. I'm glad that you could join me. There's been just as much intrigue in this game as it was in yesterday's contest. I know this one is a little more tight. It was the George Kirby experience yesterday, but now there's been a lot more runs than you would have expected. They're just going to walk Alvarez. I'm not surprised on that end. That will set up the double play, but the only problem for Seattle is now you got to face Kyle Tucker. So nothing's going to be easy on that end. In the 4th inning, getting a chance to look at his replay on the TV side of it, that would have been gone in every ballpark over 480 feet. As I was deposited into the crowd, it was a hit-me fastball that split the middle of the right center of the plate, and that was absolutely gone for a solo variety. And the Mauricio Dubon ignited the fireworks, made it 4-1. So now Kyle Rowley having a word out there with Gabe Spire, as you got the All-Star Game patches there for Seattle. It was a pretty cool ceremony with the Jets flying over, as you're already getting the home run experience. I know Julio Rodriguez didn't win it, but man, that show they had in the first round, that was absolutely immaculate. Kyle Tucker batting cleanup now for probably the most important game of the regular season to date. That's going to be that way all the way to Sunday for both of these teams. There's really not much breathing room in between the Blue Jays, the Astros, the Rangers, and the Mariners. Take your pick. If you want intrigue, you're locked this week in on baseball. Kyle Tucker, 282, 29 bombs, 110 RBI. Waiting on his first pitch. This one is a shallow. And this is going to be picked up by Dylan Moore, and it's not going to be deep enough. Unbelievable. Kyle Tucker does not come through. It was a hit-me fastball at 90, but he pops it up. Can of corn shallow on the left field side. He calls off J-Rod, makes the catch. The job's not done yet. You still got to deal with Jose Abreu, but to my surprise, I thought Kyle Tucker would at least be able to get the run in. He does not, and it's going to have to leave it up here for Jose Abreu. What an opportunity this would be for the Seattle Mariners to get out of this and still keep this a game. I mean, a couple more runs wouldn't be the death of it, but before we get to that, we'll take a break. We're going to go back to the bullpen here.
The men and women who drive Ford trucks do amazing things. Move just about anything that needs moving. Build just about anything that needs building. They're the ones who make life possible for the rest of us. Ford F-Series trucks, 100% assembled in America, because we're all in on America.
Returning F-150 XLT Easy Plan seats.
So, Jonathan, when you're not in on the Astros, what other teams are you following?
Well, my football team is the New Orleans Saints,
Mm-hmm.
and my college team is Texas A&M.
So you're pretty good across the scoreboard with those teams. I know it looks a little bit different now as far as Derek Carr. How do you think that's working out so far?
Well, right now it's just injured. Man, he's injured right now with his sprained elbow.
Yep.
But he's gonna be sitting out a couple weeks.
I always think of Derek Carr as someone that can be really good, but he's also hot and cold at times. So when he does get healthy, I hope that he can come back and start to push the Saints a little bit because I know that defense is still really legit.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how I feel about everything locally here because there's been a lot of talk about the Lions. It kind of keeps me a little concerned.
Well, the Lions got a big game tomorrow.
Yeah, they do. I know it's a short week. I would expect them to take care of the Packers. You would think in the NFC North, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but you'd think they'd go 5-1 because you're playing the Bears twice, Packers twice, and the Vikings probably split. That's my guess.
Yep.
So here's what a day could make for Justin Topa here. Now you got runners inherited in first and third. He came on in yesterday's game. He did not record an out. He had bases empty. He left with bases loaded. And he also spiked Yonder Diaz in the knee. So Justin Topa has got to be able to get this one out here, settle in, and we'll see if he can do so against Jose Abreu. It's going to be a tough out because even after they got Brantley and Dubon, so nothing is easy. Really, only as I've always said, Martin Maldonado is really the only guy you can really get in this lineup with consistency. But Abreu's known for these clutch situations, and it'd be a big time for the Astros to come through, probably score an extra run here. He's already got a single. That's a snapper of a sinker, and he gets the call about 5 inches inside. Abreu didn't like that one. I don't blame him. That was not close. 0-1. A little bit of a sidearm toss here for Topa, but he's definitely got the velocity. Just now I wonder if he can locate it, especially from yesterday. This one at 83 with a changeup. You would think if you're playing the video game on MLB The Show, these ones would be kind of hard to hit. It's not full submariner, but it'll definitely has a lot of RPM, a lot of spin to it. So you got to make sure you keep your eye on that baseball. But when you're throwing 97, 98, it's easier said than done. 1-1. And he offered a little half-hearted cut there for Abreu. A little too far. Should be 2-1, but it's 1-2 nonetheless. And Topa might have an opportunity to get out of this despite not even throwing a strike yet. So again, Abreu 1 for 2. Got runners on first and third. Any good time is an add-on time for the Astros here. That's what they're looking for right now in the top 5. Mariners trying to flip this one back over bottom 5 and get a little closer. And off the hands, had to fight it off and protect the plate. That's what Abreu did. So again, 235, 17 bombs, 84 RBI, 41 walks, 126 strikeouts for the 36-year-old. But again, I think it's about as easy as you can have on that side because when you're trying to replace a couple of things there, you can bring Abreu in there and provide a little more power on the first base side. And now you're going to get some of that. 1-2, ground ball. This would be an easy toss over there for Crawford, and they are able to get out of it. Justin Topa strands a couple runners, and now the Mariners can try to get closer. It's still 4-3 as we go bottom 5. Yuli Gurriel is who they moved on from on the last end side.
They're the ones who make life possible for the rest of us. Ford F-Series trucks, 100% assembled in America, because we're all in it for America.
Returning F-150 XLT AC Plan lessees can lease one for $439 a month for 36 months with zero cash to itself.
Appreciate you guys bouncing in on the YouTube side as well. It's been a little more active. I imagine it would be because it's been about a month since I'd streamed, but now we'll be back for the season side of it. So again, for everyone that's listening in on there, next week is a wild card series. Depending on who's going to make it, I'll kind of tip my hand of what I might cover. It might be the Lone Star series, if that's what it is. If it is Seattle, Cooper Hopkins will be with them. I'm sure he'll be able to walk into a playoff spot. I don't think he's going to pass that one up. Or if not, we'll have to wait until the second week of October for the Jets and the Flames. But wild card series next week, and then NHL it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then after that, it'll be the Waterford Sharks for the semi-pro action on some Saturdays and Sundays. Home games only. So expect at least 2 to 3 days a week to do streams and stories. HopelessSportsGuide.wordpress.com. That'll be where the story goes with the coverage, with the broadcast. So what you're hearing on the space is everything, but what you're hearing on the reporter side is just the game. That's where it's all posted and saved. So on the Root Sports side, I'm hearing, I haven't seen it flip over yet, Valdez is done after 4 innings. So it was 4 innings for Bryce Miller, 4 innings for Framber Valdez, and 3 runs. So Valdez is going to be a no decision at this point. So Valdez's day is done. 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. Kendall Graveman, again, the former Chicago White Sox, he will take over. 66 games played, 3.18 ERA, 2.06 opponent's average. 65 innings pitched, 35 walks, and 65 strikeouts. It'd be great if it was 3 walks, 35 walks on that end, as this is bunched in, and it's a 1-0 count. So Kendall Graveman, this is his second tour of duty here with the Houston Astros. As this is followed right back, and make sure I get back into the batting order here. But Jared Kelenic, he is going to come off the bench and grab a bat. 252, 11 bombs, 49 RBI. He did get a hit yesterday, but he is coming off the bench now to be able to do a replacement. Let me see where we are in the lineup of Dylan Moore. So yes, that makes a lot of sense. We'll bring some power in with Framber Valdez, and now from the righty side for Kendall Graveman. Probably going to get the switch for that side and feel more comfortable. So that's what Scott Service is going with. But Kelenick's down in the count 1-2. So it'll be Kelenic, France, and Raleigh, 5s, 6, and 7. But Kelenic is blown away from a Graveman fastball at 96, and Ty France will be due up next. Ty France's numbers is he is playing first base and batting right, 249, 10 bombs, 56 RBI, 75 runs scored, 41 walks, and 114 strikeouts. Again, just a 1-year, $4.1 million deal for the 28-year-old. So if he does not sign with the Seattle Mariners, look, I know his power numbers are a little bit lower than even I would have expected. I would expect probably Ty to be closer to the 17 to 20 range. But he does still hit for average, and he plays a good first base, at least decent enough where he's not going to cause any problems. I think he can get a better money in year term for that. At least that's what I would think. This is cued off the end of the bat, and it's going to drop in front of Michael Brantley. So the Mariners have a base hit, and Ty France is bored. So I think he'd get a little bit more, especially 28 years of age. Again, you can leave your thoughts out there. Let me know. I think he's a little better baseball player than that. But again, the Mariners will take the contract-friendly deal at this point. But they'll have to see if they can at least add something to it in the offseason if they still want his services, but I don't see why not. Speaking of somebody you would want, it's Cal Raleigh. He's at the dish now. He's the switch batter. He's the catcher, and behind the plate, Tom Murphy's still dealing with a little bit of injury. But you got 2 catchers that are pretty much the same damn thing across the board. They both hit for power, and they can both play some solid defense behind the plate. So as far as a utility switching between Murphy and Cal Raleigh, that's about as good as it gets as far as that is. 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. Sam Haggerty, the DH, he'll be flipped for Mike Ford. So Scott Service is emptying his bench early here in the bottom 5, sensing the moment. They've gotten away from the lefty, they got to the righty, and now they want to get to their spots where they can believe they're going to do some damage. Hector Neris, the splitter guy, that's pretty much what he is. He's all splitters. He's going to be featured now. Again, they're going to have to get away from the situation for what was yesterday, and they go back into my lineups on that side of it for Rafael Montero. He looked like a gas can last night, so I don't think they're going to see him. 2-1. Does not get the call, does Bregman, but that did just miss the zone off the splitter low. 3-1. It's a borderline pitch. The strike zone has been tight. Kyle Raleigh could get nasty on this in a 3-1, or if you see if he wants to show that eye, find something that he likes. We'll get a disengagement here first. This will be Kyle Raleigh as he will step out. Again, you get 1 on that side for a batter. You get 2 per plate appearance for pitchers if you want to throw over on that end. With the runner in any base at this point, you get an extra 5 seconds on the pitch clock. 3-1. And off the hands. This should be an easy turn. Yes, it is. Kyle Raleigh. He hits into a double play. That was an easy turn. It was a soft ground ball. Bregman does the job and leaves the runner stranded at first. Still 4-3 as we go to the 6th.
Ford Escape with available connected built-in navigation, and Ford Explorer, the all-time best-selling SUV in America. Hurry in to your local Ford dealer. SUV season will end soon.
Returning AZ Plan lessees could lease an Escape for $279 a month for 24 months. See your Southeast Michigan Ford dealer today.
The adventurous RAV4. It's ready to go anywhere, anytime.
Year after year, this is the best-selling SUV in America.
If you're looking for an all-wheel drive vehicle, you can't go wrong with a new Toyota.
Now, during Toyota's Truck and SUV Month, you can get 3.99 APR financing on a new RAV4.
Or 4.99 APR on the electrified RAV4 Hybrid. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Toyota Truck and SUV Month. The choice is yours. Toyota.
So just to update everybody, I went on the ESPN Cycling Computer, part of the streaming here, and just hit the refresh here as far as your wild card standings. So Tampa Bay Rays, they're locked in. They've already punched their ticket as at least for a wild card or a division side in the AL East. Again, now it's best of 3 over the last couple of years, but still, you're thinking about Tampa, you might win 100 games and you might have to settle for the wild card. That stinks. But that's how it was a couple of years ago with the Dodgers and the Giants when the Giants lost in a single game elimination before the rule was implemented. So Toronto Blue Jays, they lose again. They lost back-to-back games. The Yankees got shut out 2 straight times. They're now 87-71. Depending on what happens with this game, Houston could be 87-72, pull themselves a half game into that next portion of the wild card. Again, 2 other teams will make it. Seattle Mariners just on the outside looking in at 85-72. Diamondbacks do win, and the Cubs do lose. So that's a full 2 games on that side that the Diamondbacks have over the Cubs. And for the Braves, you would think, we already got this clinch, but we're still going to hit the Cubs right where it hurts. And that's exactly where they did. So Phillies have punched their ticket. The Rays have punched their ticket in the American League. And the Diamondbacks look to be healthy. But everything else in the American League has yet to be decided at this point. So Michael Brantley has had a nice night as he's went day to day and penciled himself back in the lineup. But now he's recorded his first out. Justin Topa, 1 pitch, 1 out, 6 pitches into his day. Still a 4-3 lead for the Houston Astros. They were up by as much as 4-1. A couple innings ago, there was a Yordan Alvarez solo blast and a Mauricio Dubon 3-run shot that gave the Astros a 4-1 lead. Eugenio Suarez answered with a 2-run single in the bottom half of that inning. And then after that, we've been waiting at the 4-3 scoreline to see if anything else will take place. I got Jonathan with me as a guest speaker. He's kind of just listening in on this side, but I appreciate that. And between the Twitter and the X space and the YouTube is open for your questions as well. Gino with a backhand stab. That's a great play. As Dubon hit it right to him nonetheless. He hit it right on the screws, but Suarez might have a nice play with the glove hand. 2 up, 2 down on the top of the 6th. I'm sure my broadcast partner in Cooper Hopkins is biting his nails on this end for this side of the game. I did reach out to him. He just open-endedly said, John, I'm Feel like I might have my heart broken with Seattle. I just can't bring myself to do this as much as I want to broadcast with you. It's understandable. I think for the Red Wings with me for next year, if they make the playoffs, I'm going to have to ask him to help me cover those games because if the Wings get eliminated next year, let's say they make it, I think I might blow a gasket and maybe cry a little bit. I'm not too ashamed to admit that even at 36. I just want to see my team get back into the postseason. On the hockey side, it's certainly been a long time. I've been waiting for Steve Eisman to build that back up. So I know his feelings about having your heart in your throat with certain teams. And I just want to broadcast some of the intrigue here as I'm getting back into it before we get set in the playoffs and the opening in the NHL season, get my feet wet once again. 0-2 is the count against Jeremy Pena. Topa is looking pretty good here in comparison to yesterday. He's going to get another ground ball. This one can't be stabbed up by Crawford. He tried to get his glove down on it. It was going to be a tough play. Might even be an error against JP on that end as it was hitting a hole right in between Caballero and Crawford. Let me take another look at this when we show this. So this was hit pretty good. And let's see if Crawford got his glove on it. Now I'm right underneath his glove. So you could give him an error there, no doubt. But Pena runs well. I could see that being borderline. Maybe just give Pena the hit. Have that go to his batting average. That's what I'll say. Martin Maldonado still in there, batting ninth in the order. Dusty Baker's not trying to do any switches or pulls here. I wouldn't imagine so because when Topa hit Diaz on the knee in the seventh inning on that side, that got swelled up a little bit. You want to keep him off his feet. And then for Chas McCormick, you want to make sure that he's healthy, so he's on the line. He got sawed right in half. The barrel of the bat went flying directly back and across the netting. So Topa able to get Maldonado on one pitch. That's a quick top six. It's still 4-3 Houston.
For more than a century, people have been getting in a Ford vehicle and getting out there, strengthening our communities. We believe what you do with your Ford vehicle is what makes it a Ford. Ford assembles more
I'll be right back.
America than any other manufacturer because we're all in America.
Returning Explorer Easy Plan lessons can lease a Ford Explorer for $409 a month for 36 months only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Up on the road? No problem.
What drive modes? Road makes us walk in the park.
Drive the Nissan Road. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Road Platinum or get a low $348 per month lease on road.
It's Toyota truck and SUV month. With more to choose from than anyone else.
Your new Toyota will have you ready for anything.
Ready for a family adventure. Ready for a night out.
Your Toyota, your choice.
Now during Toyota's truck and SUV month, get 3.99 APR financing on the new aggressively sophisticated Toyota Highlander.
Or 4.99 APR financing on this electrified Highlander hybrid. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Toyota truck and SUV. Choice and you.
Toyota, let's go places.
The men and women who drive Ford trucks do amazing things. Move just about anything that needs moving. Build just about anything that needs building. They're the ones who make life possible for the rest of us. Ford F-Series trucks, 100% assembled in America because we're all in.
It's kind of what we thought it would be like tonight. Yes, that's exactly right. Very good ball game. Both managers go to the bullpen early. Bullpen's taking over this game in the fifth inning. Mariners right now trailing the Astros by half game. Mariners with a win tonight would be the third wild card team going into tomorrow's game against the Rangers. Hector Neris has made a lot of appearances. He's not for the door of his third straight 70 appearance season. Yeah, 68 this year. He's been 12, 181 ERA. Once inning is 178 against him, 73 strikeouts, 64 and 2/3. All really good numbers for Neris. After fastball, 93 miles an hour. He can touch 95. And the slider that he uses every now and then at a split. He's been like his hand right. One thing for Neris, he is very
So Hector Neris does join in the bottom of the sixth. It's still a 4-3 game. Mike Ford has come in off the bench as Scott Service continues to adjust the lineups here. Again, Sam Haggerty was in the DH spot. He was the switch fighter. He did a really good job against Framber Valdez, so he did exactly what? And now you're going to bring in Mike Ford for a little bit more power on this side. They're going to say, did he offer? Is the question. No, he did not. It is now 2-0. And despite they're saying this on the Root Sports side, for Hector Neris throwing a lot of splitters and some fastballs that can top out at 95, he is a fly ball pitcher. So maybe power on power in this situation is what Scott Service is thinking. Splitter at 83. This one does get the call. This is in the zone. 2-1. As Neris about to be 4 pitches into his day, he's going to have to deal with the 8-9-1 portion of the order. And the same pitch in the same spot, inside and low. The Mariners have 32 come from behind wins this season. They're going to need to be able to do so now against the Astros. Again, they've already won the season series across 2023, but in this series now, if they lose 2 out of 3, I mean, considering what they've done against Texas, going 1-8, that's not good. So the Mariners do control their own destiny. Let's say if they win out, they're going to be in the playoffs nonetheless. But you would have to imagine if Seattle loses today, they're going to have to go in the weekend series winning 3 out of 4 against Texas, and that's daunting. They were 12-1 against Oakland, 9-3 against Houston to date, and 8-5 against the LA Angels. So they're beating up on the AL West despite Texas. But again, no shame in that. It's just imagining, to me, to see it be so one-sided on an outside perspective, considering how bad the pitching is for Texas. That's what gives me a little bit of a surprise. But sometimes it happens. I've seen the Tigers get absolutely destroyed by the Guardians when they were the Indians back then. Just a couple of years ago, even when they had decent teams, they just couldn't beat them. Full count pitch. And they rung him up. He took a ball. Neris got the strike call, and Ford is upset, and he has every right to be. He can't repeat what he's throwing out there, but there's some F-bombs and some BS, and I don't blame him there. But this strike zone's been a little bit inconsistent for both teams. And for Framber Valdez, he's got to be shaking the dreadlocks and saying, hell yeah, on that side, because those are the ones that he should have got. Josh Rojas now will enter the game. He'll bat ninth. He's going to go ahead and take the spot of second base of Jose Caballero before they flip back over to J.P. Crawford. So it's getting very close to do or die time here as we're into the final 10 outs of the Mariners, should they not at least tie this game. Again, for the regular season, it's still runner at second base. When you get into the postseason, that is not the case next week. It's going to be normal baseball, but still with the pitch clock. 2-0. Rojas takes a ball. Again for Mike Ford. When he was just up there, that would have been called a strike, would have been punched out. So Matt Brash, the flamethrower, one of the flamethrowers, alongside Andres Munoz, is getting warm. Obligatory take there for Rojas and make it 3-1. 73 hits, 53 of them are singles, only 3 of them are bombs, but he does have some doubles power with 17. Neris, and he offered at a fastball outside the zone, just a couple inches, just enough to entice Rojas to get him to go, and that's what's a mark of a good pitcher there, just to be able to mess with those sight lines and go from the splitter to the fastball. That's a good mix. Full count again. Down the middle, punched him away. So Hector Neris, he got a beneficiary at one call, but that time he told Rojas to go grab some pine. And we go back to the top of the order of J.P. Crawford. That goes 93. He might have got a piece of that actually with the bat. He did, but it stayed into the glove, and that's going to count as a strikeout. So J.P. Crawford's been hot. He's going to have to continue to do so now. He was responsible for the Mariners' first run of the game. It was a leadoff shot to begin. 1-0 Mariners, and then 4-1 Astros, and then 4-3. And that's where they stand. A solo bomb and 2 walks. JP got a good cut at that one. Makes it 1-1. It was an 82-mile-an-hour changeup. No splitter on that end. 15 pitches in Neris's day. He's looked very good on the bullpen. It is a grand reversal of what happened yesterday for the Astros when they really couldn't get any bullpen relief. It looks like Neris is providing it right now. I would say so that you might want to have him even go another inning. I know you still got Mayton, you got Presley, and some other options there, but if Neris is looking this good in a game that's this important, I don't think Dusty Baker would hesitate to offer him another inning should he be able to go. 264, 18 bounds, 59 RBI, and a fastball in at the eyes. It's 2-2. John Eder with you. I'm watching the Root Sports feed on MLB TV on this side, courtesy of the package from T-Mobile. Got that one for free. Shout out for Cooper Hopkins for that one. Let me know about it, as this one is sent down in the bottom of the zone, making a full count. So I wanted to get back into the broadcast as we get back into the season. So the two warm-up assignments have been Houston and Seattle the last couple nights, and these games have been very intriguing. This is a solo call today, but Jonathan here with you until the end of it. I've enjoyed it. I got Jonathan here with me on the Twitter Spaces and the X Space side as Martin Maldonado and Hector Neris get their signals crossed up a little bit. They're going to do it again, although you have the pitch comm situation now, but they'll use a disengagement here for Crawford. Crawford strikeout rate and walk rate at 19.8 and 14.6 respectively. The MLB average is 22% and 8%. So Crawford's got a great eye, and he's not going to strike out very often. You already seen it with a couple of walks and a home run. Again, he was someone I've seen last year from batting from 9th to 1. He's been all over the place. Now he's been locked into that 1. He's just been good all year. Full count pitch. We're going to get set to do it again. Pitch clock down to 5 as Neris gets the stare in. And another walk, the third walk of the game with a home run to show for it. Have yourself a night, J.P. Crawford. Julio Rodriguez. How many more times is he going to get an opportunity with a runner in scoring position? Technically, he didn't get it in the first, but because J.P. Crawford in the solo jam. But the last couple times for Julio, he's got some ducks in the pond. J-Rod's going to come through here. Make no doubt about it. Walking stolen base 0 for 2 for J-Rod, and a grand swing and miss here as he knocked down one of his Evo Shield elbow guards, and he's going to have to retie that one. There was only one thing on his mind there, and you can already read it, especially if you're not even watching the game. You can already tell by my voice. 31 home runs, 102 RBI, 281 average. Just missed that splitter on the inside. He wanted it all. Ballpark doesn't play very big, so if Julio gets enough, oh, that was a pitch to hit, and he let that one go by. Very dangerous. That looked like a lollipop changeup, not even a splitter, right down the middle that split the plate at 84. Don't know how you don't swing at that one. 0-2. J-Rod's not going to get anything better than that. Then he punches out. Very undisciplined at-bat there, and he knows that Neris got a piece of him. And now he's got some words with Hector Neris. And Neris told him to walk away. You know, I got you. And Rodriguez chirping in a bit. I don't know why he is. I mean, he's the one that made himself look foolish as the benches start to empty. There's nothing but words now. And now everybody from the bullpen is starting to meet up on both sides. Very curious how this all of a sudden just ballooned into something. Well, Hector Neris didn't do anything wrong. He probably gave J-Rod a couple of words. He was the one that made himself look a little foolish. And now Neris is back out on the mound. He's got his chest poked out big time, as he should. He got J-Rod big time, and cooler heads have got to prevail. J-Rod certainly doesn't seem to be the cooler head there. And now we might start to get some of the Astros and the Mariners walk away. Very curious to see how that one got started, but I have to believe that was all Julio Rodriguez. And Neris just looks like, man, you're all talk, but you're not really showing me much from the words that are being cut across. I know that's not lip reading at its finest, but that's what it looks like. And that's what got J-Rod a little bit hot as the fans have started to boo. I don't see any reason to throw anybody out at this point, but again, that seemed a little bit too conspicuous to even get started. And J-Rod knows he should have been a little bit better there at these at-bats. He's left some runners on base. And for a player as good as he is, he's got to be a little bit more disciplined. This Teoscar Hernandez telling him to settle down. Again, the camera cut hasn't happened. So Neris, he was walking toward Rodriguez, and he was giving him a piece of his mind. And J-Rod's like, you know what, man? What are you even doing all that stuff for? He's like, sit down. I got you. You might see this on John Boy Media, that YouTube channel. They might give you some good lip reading there because they got a lot more followers. They only got about 100 something. He's got millions. But on that end, I think that's what it started. Neris was giving Rodriguez a piece of his mind. I think as he should. This is a big portion of this game. I'm not going to lie to you in the sense of it. He was feeling himself there, and I don't blame him. It's a big out to get. If anything else happens to it, I'll bring the recorder back in, but looks like we'll be going to let me go back to this and make sure I get my everything else all set. The top of the seventh, Scott Service still looking on here just to see. They might be talking with some other people on the mound. I'd be surprised, honestly, if anybody gets thrown out of this game. Just wouldn't make much sense to me. I didn't see much there, to be honest with you. If anything else does transpire, I'll let you know officially. Did you make anything of that, Jonathan?
Yeah. It looks like J-Rod might be that fight right there. Well, I mean, Caballero and Romer don't get along together, and because when they came to Houston, Caballero started it all with Romer, man, and it was J-Rod that stopped them. And according to Twitter, reading from Ben Verlander, Justin Verlander's brother, he was walking over. Harris was walking back toward his dugout, that visitor dugout, and looks like J-Rod might be issuing some commands to him.
So before I get into the official recorder stuff, I'm just looking and see they're talking with Dusty Baker. Everything else on the broadcast side is I see Justin looking on there as well. We just talked about some of the Verlanders there. I wouldn't see anything more than a fine here. I didn't see anything crazy, but we're still waiting on any official words as far as whether or not anybody's getting thrown out. Now the umps are going back over talking with Seattle bench boss Scott Service. They talk with Dusty Baker. Again, I'm seeing much ado about nothing, but from what Jonathan has told me on that and with Jose Caballero and some of the things beforehand and J-Rod, two teams, obviously the division rivals don't like each other, but that just seemed a little bit, that's just normal baseball heat to me. We'll see if we get anything official here. Now they're going back onto the mound with Justin Topa. We've not cut to commercial break, so we might just be right into the top seven. So once I do get into the official broadcast, I'll just relay to you that nothing, it sounds like. So let's just get this squared away for the official broadcast. The camera never cut away from, I'm not even going to say mini scrum. It was just a little bit of a meeting. We did have bullpens empty and words in between Hector Neris and Julio Rodriguez. And Hector Neris was able to give up some words to Julio there after punching him out. I think he got a little bit fired up, as he should. And the umpires met up on both sides. They talked about it. And again, from the broadcast side, from the Seattle end that I'm viewing, again, I agree with them. I agree with Jonathan. We talked a little bit at the break. I don't see much going on as far to warrant any type of suspensions. Not even really fines. I mean, that's just blood and heat of the moment. That's all that really is to me. So one pitch, one out is Altuve. We're in the top of the seventh now. We're in the middle of a one-score game in the final 9 outs between both teams, unless we get extra time here. Bregman takes it now for 1-1. Topa's still out there for another inning of work. He's been a hell of a lot sharper than he was yesterday. He inherited no runners on last night. He left with the bases loaded, no outs, and now he's trying to get 2 innings of work here. Bregman 1 for 12 in this series. Looks like they're going to flip this back over there just to look at the Seattle bullpen and try to get some others warm. Again, no Munoz at this point, or Brash. Brash was warming. This is shot at the right field. Teoscar got to play it on a hop, and he lets it go past him. Bregman's going to have an opportunity to at least get two, and now it's bobbled by Rodriguez, and Bregman's got a triple. He should have only had a single. Horrible misplay by the Mariners, and Bregman's going to take it. It turns a single into a triple, and now you have to imagine that the Astros get one out of this. My, oh my, as routine as it gets. And he was kind of just swatting at it like he was knocking away a mosquito. But it missed right past him. And then Julio Rodriguez couldn't pick it up. So maybe some things on the mind of what just transpired. And now you're in a situation where the Astros can be absolutely gifted a run. And now they're going to go ahead on the other end and just walk the intentional walk one more time for Yordan Alvarez. So boy, oh boy, concentration was lacking. And one more time, just like last night when Matt Brash had to inherit bases loaded and no outs, he only gave up one. Now he's got to get through first and third with one out, not give up anything. My goodness. Well, that escalated quickly, did it? OT says, I'm going to be going to bed. Thanks for the great work, John. I'll see you next time. Yes, OT, my friend, I might have some early work next week with the playoff stuff, but if not, I will catch you the following week when we have 3 hockey games in the middle of October. It's coming soon. I couldn't be more excited.
John, they gave Teoscar an error on that play.
As they should. That was brutal, my friend.
Yes, it was.
Well, I know you're going to be happy with that on the Astros side. I would have to imagine, even with Matt Brash, you get at least one run, and one run might be enough for the Astros to be able to take 2 out of 3 in this series.
With the September live content report. We're rolling up the red carpet with the new snapshot cards coming to Diamond Dynasty. Even I'm getting all dressed up for these. The summer is still in full effect with the great race.
Brought to you by Jack in the Box. New Jack in the Box Angry Monster Tacos are angry. How about angry? We can spicy. How about UW Medicine? Top-ranked research, care, and learning working together to improve your health. UW Medicine, a higher degree of healthcare. After Julio Kelnick all talking things over. Errors in those 9 weird 7th down a run. Scott has intentionally walked Alvarez for the second time tonight.
So a big thank you to Jonathan, who's been listening in as we followed into the commercial break. Teoscar Hernandez was given an error on that play, as he should have been. That was absolutely brutal outfielding. It was Teoscar Hernandez had to get right past and try to catch it left-handed, barehanded. It goes to the right side of the wall. And then J-Rod goes to try to pick it up. It gets past his glove, and Bregman had a single turn into a triple. And now all of a sudden the Astros are in business with runners, I believe, at first and third because Yordan was intentionally walked. So it's a 4-3 game. Kyle Tucker in at the dish. He didn't come through last time. I'd find it hard to believe he wouldn't come through again this time. Matt Brash was excellent yesterday. Inherited bases loaded, only gave up 1. His 77th relief appearance this season, team record 78 from Ed Vandenberg in 1982. And Matt Brash is about as nasty as they come. And that was a strike called the ball. And that was all the way inside the plate. My goodness. So Kyle Tucker is the beneficiary of a call there. And we will see if the cleanup batter can come through. Again, at this point in the game, you never know, but one more run could be enough. King Tuck comes through, sprays it down the right field line. That scores Bregman. And we'll see what happens now with Alvarez. He finds his way to third. Tucker gets to second. And Kyle Tucker comes through as you expected he would. And the Astros lead swells to 5-3. Tucker, beautiful. Bottom part of the bat head over a jumping Ty France down the right field line. Took that fastball and stayed with it and put it right down the line. That's a beautiful swing. That is why he is one of the best of the best. And now you got to deal with Abreu and Brantley to follow. Sweeping slider from Brash does catch the outside of the zone, make it 0-1. Jose Abreu does have a hit in this game. Again, you don't want to have too many opportunities if you're the Astros, look too many runners on board. They did that too much yesterday. They're not doing that now. 98 in on the hands, and Abreu was able to get out of the way of it. So 1-1 count. Brash will be 5 pitches into his day. This is an absolutely critical game for both teams, as we mentioned. Wild card positioning is of the importance, and it does not get any easier. Able to put this into the line, and Abreu comes through with a solid single, and the Astros score again. It's 6-3. So again, an absolutely killer play in the outfield. At least now maybe at the point 1 run, but it's already equated to 2. And that could be all she wrote for the Mariners at this point. I know they still have 9 more outs to work with, but you find it hard to believe that they can continue to come through and get away from these Astros bats because, as we said, only time I think about an easy out is Martin Maldonado, 1 through 8 that's a death sentence all the way across the board. So now Brash is going to have to find his way. He was sharp yesterday, and now he's kind of looking like Justin Topa did. So if he doesn't come through here and stop the bleeding here and stop that hemorrhaging, this could be it. Record this season about as close as it gets, only a half-game split, 86-72 for the Astros, 85-72 at this point for the Mariners. I know Jonathan had talked about it with me for a little bit on that side and said if the Astros don't win this game, you don't feel very comfortable. You can say the same thing with the Mariners on that side too. That's how much it means for both of these teams. A little bit of a camera cut there for MLB TV with the feed is back. It's 0-2 as Brantley went way out of the zone for a dive bomb slider. 2 for 3 with a double, single, and a run scored for Michael Brantley, the former Cleveland Indian, Cleveland Guardian. That was before they were the Cleveland Guardians. 289, 2 bombs, 6 RBI. He's a guy that's around a career 300 hitter. And at his best, he can get you close to 100 RBI and do a little bit of everything. Never been a great fielder, but he's never been a bad one either. Right back through the middle, and a diving play through the infield can't be corralled by Crawford. And now a throw over third is late, and the Astros are really starting to hum now as Brantley comes through again with his 3rd hit of the game. Make it 7-3. 7-3 in the top of the 7th, and now you're starting to feel pretty good if you're an Astros fan here. You've gotten exactly what you wanted to. You've got runners in scoring position. They're coming through. Absolutely what they didn't do yesterday when they were shut down by 6 scoreless from George Kirby. Still, the Mariners will win this series against the Astros and finish 9-4 if this result holds. But the looming 1-8 against Texas, they're putting themselves in a situation now. If you're Seattle, you've got to win the next 3 out of 4 against Texas if you're going to have any hope. And if you're Seattle, you would hope that the Astros lose 2 out of 3 against Arizona. I think they might lose 1 considering how much the Diamondbacks have to go for this thing, and then they're in the middle of it. But the Astros are in the middle of it in the AL. The Diamondbacks are in the middle of it in an NL. That's going to be dynamite. So if you're around to watch on the weekend series in between the Astros and the Diamondbacks, be glued to that one, and also be glued to the Mariners and the Rangers, because it's going to come down to Sunday night. No doubt about it. So Dubon offered at a couple of pitches way out the zone. This one he thought better of. Make it 1-2. Still 1 for 3 with a 3-run shot in the 4th. It's 7-3, and the damage has been done. Matt Brash has come on of relief of Topa, and he's just surrendered it right now. Hasn't even recorded it out yet, much like Topa yesterday. Brash has been this way now when he was lights out. 1-2. And a slider high, Dubon way out in front of it. A much needed punch out for Brash, but absolutely the damage has already been done, and he's got to hold it at 4. The Mariners probably don't have a chance at this point, and their final 6 outs, if we're being completely honest, you never know. But even in a non-safe situation, Dusty Baker going in the ninth, it's Ryan Presley or bust as far as I'm concerned. Jeremy Pena batting eighth, and he offers at a slider. So the Astros were very disciplined on a few of the extra runs. Now they're deciding to get nasty, going for the kill shot. Don't know if that's the right thing to do at this point. You want to make sure at least don't leave the runner at third strand and try to get to 8-3. Slider inside at 88, make it 1-1. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 7th at this point, and the Mariners are going to be down at least by 4. And they're going to have to deal with a lot of flamethrower arms. Pena, 265, 10 bomb, 51 RBI. His numbers aren't quite what they were last year as far as the home run power, but the average is about the same. Still one of the very fast runners and a very good defender. Pena. This will put it right to Teoscar, but we'll back up, make an easy play on this one. But the Astros, major damage. They've now taken a 7-3 lead. As we're getting close to the stretch, they get 3 runs. 7-3 now. We go into the 8th. I'll give you one more scoring look, and then we will close out the rest of this game when we get to it. And then the game start at hopefulsportsguy.wordpress.com, and then I will be done for the week. You'll see my football picks on Friday because I got to go to the baseball game on Saturday, right up Sunday, and then probably Monday night will be my posted schedule for Wild Card Baseball. I'm going to try to cover a whole round of one series. Right now, it looks like it could be the Lone Star Series, but we will see where that goes. I know those will be midday, but I will deal with it. I'm usually a night owl myself, but not going to miss the playoff baseball. Then when we get into hockey, I will follow that all the way through until we stop for the World Series. I will cover every game in the entirety in the World Series. I might miss one, but we will get the winner and call all of that when we get to it. You can let me know what your World Series winners are, and I'm not just saying this because we're doing this in the game today, but I would be hard-pressed if the Astros don't make it to think that it wouldn't be Astros and Braves. That would be my call. I know that's the easy one because I think the Braves are the best team in baseball, but the Astros are not far away. If there's an S tier, the Astros are probably A++. That's where I would put it as. It's really that close. I know there's some one-sided things when you get the home team's broadcast and you're seeing on Root Sports, and they're saying, I did hear them say they don't believe Harris should have acted the way he did. I didn't see what he did wrong, to be completely honest with you. That's just good old gamesmanship. So Brian Abreu, bottom 7, he's going to be in relief here, and you can really go 7, 8, 9. I know it's a non-safe situation, but I'd be surprised if the scoreline stays the same that we don't see Ryan Presley. I'm just throwing it out there here. So Eugenio Suarez got to be able to get the job done here. You're going to have a little bit of switching here as far as my official lineup when you see that posted. But Suarez now 0-2. This one spiked into the dirt with a splitter. And we'll do it again at 1-2. That one missed at 88. Suarez had a good day as well. 1 for 2 with a single and walk and 2 RBI. J.P. Crawford, really the only other Seattle Mariner, with 3 walks and a home run that has been on the ball tonight. 1 for 2. is the count, and a 98 way out of the zone. So for the Houston Astros, I know this over the last several years, predominantly right-handed coming out of that bullpen, but in between, Presley, Stanek, Abreu, a lot of heat. So you got to be ready to swing, about topping around 98. No triple digits, but be ready for that busted in off the hands. And Suarez able to back away from it, not offer, just to protect himself. Teoscar Hernandez, he wants to make up from that gaff in right field side. He's due up on deck. Full count here for Eugenio Suarez. About the 7th full count of the Houston Astros has been a lot. Splitter down. Good work there for Suarez. So between Suarez and J.P. Crawford, they have been locked in. It is time for Teoscar Hernandez to come through in a big way. If you're a Mariners fan, there really is no other way to say it now. You're getting down in the bottom 9 outs of all that's left. You need your big boys to come through. Teoscar's got to be able to shake the collar off that poor play in right field and come through when it matters most. Find your pitch. And that time he really swung through a 97. He was going for the down. So you got to stay within yourself here. Again, 9 outs doesn't sound like a lot, but again, Houston Astros able to turn that right on a dime. Seattle can do the same thing if they can find something they like. 0 for 3, ground on a fielder's choice in the 4th, and fall right back at 98 outside the zone. So Teoscar not locked in here like he needs to be. Again, off the double switch, we'll talk about who is going to be batting up next. I'll have to pull back up on the ESPN box score, but it's Jared Kelenic at this moment. And he just blew Teoscar Hernandez right away. That is a brutal at bat considering everything that just transpired into right field. You got to do much better than that. So we'll see if Jared Kelenic can come through, but that's very poor. You got 2 strikes that could have been 2 balls. Put yourself in an 0-2 count, and you swing at 99 on top of the zone. That's just not sharp. So Kelenic is still at the dish. This is 87 dotted right up the outside of the black. And that's close enough. I know Kelenic's going to shake his head, but this is the way the strike zone's been all night. You got to be careful, and you got to swing it for both of these teams. As Kelenic was able to replace Dylan Moore, who got the start there because of Framber Valdez. And both of those switches there for Scott Service did pretty well as far as drawing walks, but they weren't able to sustain any extra damage like the Astros did for the majority of the night, especially in that 4-run inning that kind of set everything up. The Mariners have not been able to recover. And at this point, again, as we talked about throughout the broadcast, you could say the same thing with the Astros. Astros need to win 2 out of the next 3 games, and Seattle's probably going to win 3 out of the next 4 to give themselves a chance. That's just the way it is right now. We're going to the final week of the season. So the half-game split, that just means Seattle's going to play 4 games, and Houston's got 3 left. They'll be on the road in Arizona. Seattle will stay home to play Texas for 4, but they're 1-8 against the Rangers this year. And if they don't turn that around at all, if they lose the next 2 games against Texas, and they lose this one, that's probably lights out. 2-1. Swing right through a beautiful curveball at 86. Kelenic now 2-2. Houston Astros, I can say it as plain as day. Again, I know Texas has been hot all year. I don't really think they care about where they get in as long as they get in, because in a wild card series, whether it's Framber Valdez or Justin Verlander, good luck beating them 2 out of 3 times. I don't see that happening, in the complete honesty. But they got to get there. That's what Sunday's going to matter for. 2-2 as Kelenic stays alive. The 15 pitches into Abreu's day. 2022 World Series champions, 4-2 against the Philadelphia Phillies. Again, that was an excellent team, and now with the Phillies, they had a poor start at the beginning of the year, but they've locked in the wild card. That lineup is as dangerous as it gets. If it was me, and it was a matchup between the Astros and the Phillies, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you. I'd like to see a little bit of revenge on both sides and see what that would be, because if it wasn't for a Kyle Schwarber on some of the times, I don't even think the Phillies would have had a chance. He had a couple big home runs, not to mention Team USA and Team Japan during the World Baseball Classic. It was Schwarber's show and Trey Turner early. Full count. Here for Kelenic. He's trying to get on base any way he can. Pitch clock down to 1. And he swings and misses. It would have been ball 4, but Abreu making dirty work of Hernandez and now Kelnick as he's trying to keep the bottom of the 7th clean. Ty France is going to be the last hope in the bottom of the 7th. Should he extend it, it'll be Cal Raleigh. But it's some undisciplined at-bats for a team that is down by 4 runs trying to go for the downs when they need to be able to compile walks and base hits together. I understand it's easier said than done from a broadcasting standpoint. Can make it seem like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but that's what matters at this point. You got to execute, especially in the final week of the season, because these are all playoff games, and you want to be able to hum at the right time. Ty France falls off a curveball. Astros bullpen ranks 11th. Starters 14th, bullpen 6th. Altogether 11th pitching, bullpen 6, starters 14. Kyle Tucker, can of corner to right field. Easy for Abreu. He looked dominant there. Stretch, 7-3 Astros.
It's Ford SUV season. Time to gear up for adventure, on or off-road. Get great deals on our capable lineup of Ford SUVs, including Ford Explorer, Ford Bronco Sport, and Ford Edge, all designed with technology to give you confidence on the road. Hurry in to your local Ford dealer. SUV season will end soon.
For Dream Easy Plan, lessees can lease a 2024 Ford Edge for $309 a month for 24 months, only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
For men and women who drive Ford trucks,
Was able to save the cough drop for the last 2 innings, so I feel good about that. I want to spam these. Let me give you score reset. As most of these games are final now, we have just 2 underway. It looks like the Rangers are going to get the win over the Angels and bounce back over a humiliating loss last night. They are winning 5-0. The Angels have just 3 hits. Dane Dunning was on the mound. Look like they're able to get that one done. The Padres and Giants are tied at 2. Giants have last at bats unless they go into extras. We'll see if the Padres can come through. They're going to need everybody else to lose in the National League part of the wild card. Doesn't seem very likely. And in our game, it's 7-3 Astros as we go top 8. Everything else is final. The suspended game for the Tigers, they got a 4-0 lead. It'll be made up as a doubleheader. I think it'll be a half hour after. Diamondbacks, they keep their wild card position. They win 3-0 over the Sox. The Mets, they sting the Marlins' chances, win 11-2. Guardians, they close out the Reds 4-3 as the Reds drop a game in critical positioning in the National League. Rays, they already take out the Red Sox, are already eliminated 5-0. Orioles keep their division lead in the AL East alive. They win 5-1. Phillies take a 7-6 win over the Pirates. They are locked in the wild card spot number 1. Yankees shut out the Blue Jays back-to-back days, win 6-0. Braves get a 6-5 win over the Cubs. Cubs had the lead. They lose an extra to the Braves, who have 152 wins on the year. That is awful for the Cubs. They really needed that game. Marlins did split up the doubleheader. They won 4-2 in Game 2. Twins won 6-4. They clinched the NL Central. NL Central was clinched for the Brewers. They win 3-2. Dodgers all over the Rockies, 8-2. Those are your scores for the day. So back in the official play-by-play, Thornton on the mound now for Seattle. And the Astros have been doing damage. Maldonado skies this one deep. Is this going to one at the warning track? It's gone! Martin Maldonado goes deep. Insult to injury. It's 8-3. You can take that 193 batting average and shove it as he goes deep into left field. And the Astros now up by 5. That is an extra run that you don't often expect. But as we said, Maldonado certainly got the power. He doesn't show it in the average side, but that's his 15th bomb of the year. And that was a hanging curveball. That was a big-time mistake. And I don't care if it's not a big ballpark or not, still shot that one about 400 feet as Altuve almost spun himself into oblivion. It's 0-1. But now the Astros have certainly got themselves in a driving seat. And they've already going to take this series. They won 2-1. They're going to lose the season series, but they're going to pick up a critical game here. And now, with the Diamondbacks winning over the next 3 games, I think if they win the next 2, they could already put themselves in a driver's seat, at least for the wild card. So Altuve is out. And that's going to go back to Bregman and Alvarez. Alvarez has had a pretty easy night because he's hit a home run and he had a couple of walks, but he's got Bregman first before he has to go back to the bat rack. We'll see if he gets a chance to swing. Probably will because they're up by 5. And Seattle can only really sit on their hands. I mean, other than the J.P. Crawford solo shot to begin the game, that's really the only excitement that there's been. Houston's kind of sucked the air out of the building, and you would expect they would. Again, Alec and I said that in the opening. I thought it was a pretty poor game that Houston played last night. I know they dealt with some injuries that were Justin Topa in off the knee for Diaz, and then for Chas McCormick, who got smoked by Munoz. But it looks like McCormick's going to be okay. But if you can get the opportunity, I don't know if Dusty Baker's going to do this, but if you can get the opportunity to at least rest Chas McCormick for a couple extra days and then keep him healthy going to the wild card, I think that's the best case scenario. But the problem is the line's so razor thin for the playoff spot right now. As soon as they can get McCormick in the lineup, they got to do that unless they're comfortable with Mauricio Dubon. But hey, I mean, he had a 3-run shot today, so they might be able to just continue to rest Chas McCormick, and that could work out. 3-1 here for Bregman. He looks to get on base and see if Yordan can get a 10 spot here. This is a walk way out of the zone. So Seattle's bullpen, we're able to say a lot of nice things about last night. Can't say it now. I know Miller gave up a few runs there, but again, this bullpen that's normally lights out, again, something has to give with as good as all the Astros are on offense, and something did. Astros broke out in a huge way, and now Yordan Alvarez will get the opportunity to swing the bat. He might be looking for a second home run alongside his 2 walks already. Tough pitch. Curveball just caught the corner there, but even if he would have swung at that, might have hit into a double play. So I'll take it. It's 0-1. Yordan, again, I always said, I think he's the best pure hitter in all of baseball. This one is skied high, 86 mile an hour, but this will be an infield fly, and this will be picked up. So 2 outs, although damage has already been done in this inning for a Martin Maldonado solo blast. Still got 1 more to get through, and it's King Tut. He's batting cleanup today. Again, the numbers will have to be updated, but from what I have, 281, 29 bombs, 110 RBI, 78 walks, 87 strikeouts, 29 stolen bases. Add a couple more RBI to that. Tuck launches. Now on the right field line, is it going to stay in? Right off the warning track as Teoscar Hernandez certainly gave that one a ride. Maldonado left the building, make it 8-3. Seattle down to the last 6 outs.
Did you know you can get this season's COVID-19 shot when you get your flu shot?
Oh, 2 things at once. 2 things at once. 2 things at once. How about 2 things at once? Now, 2 things at once. 2 things at once. That's not 2 things at once.
Travis, ask about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot. The Woodworker's Shop, the nation's leader in quality log home products. We're your one-stop shop for all your log.
So for the bettors out there, again, I'm just looking at the MLB RotoWire lineup. We got 6 more outs here for the Mariners. Looks like the Astros should be able to coast this one home, but it looks like the over/under was set at 8 runs, and your score currently is 8-3. It's been all Houston. It's been a couple of innings that have kind of gotten away. If you're a Mariners fan, the 4th, they scored 4 runs and 7th, they scored 3 runs, and that's pretty much it. A pair of bombs in there between Alvarez and Mauricio Dubon. Martin Maldonado just goes deep in the 8th, and a 2-run singled on the couple line has some hits for stretch together. But the Seattle bullpen is not able to hold in the 13-hit attack for 8 runs for Houston. And again, they had 3 errors last night, none today, and a catastrophic error from Teoscar Hernandez, which allowed Bregman to get a single from first to go to third on that side. That's going to prove to be the difference to be able to get some innings and tether them and score more runs. But Houston has done their best to add on and attack this bullpen. And if you're Seattle, again, you're chewing your fingernails as far as that matchup with Texas. You're putting yourself in a situation where you might have to win 3 of the next 4 or even sweep in a team that you're 1-8 against. That is a long looming task to ask for. So I did call one thing, and again, it's not an easy one to call, but Brian Abreu is back up on the mound. It's going to be his 20th pitch. He is 1-0 in front of Cal Raleigh. It looked like he was going for the downs on both of the pitches. He was late on 2 98s. He was challenged. So Cal Raleigh, and then we will flip back in for Mike Ford, and then Josh Rojas as far as some of the switches here, if that's what it pertains, unless Scott Service has a few more moves to make. Only got 6 more outs to work with, and Seattle's down 5. 98. Way out of the zone, make it 1-2. John Hunter with you at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. I was able to work back-to-back games in this series. I had Alec Nava with me in the first game. Thankful to have him help me switch between play-by-play and color. That was a lot of fun yesterday. This game's been a lot of fun. I've only had to use 1 cough drop, so I feel good about that. Strike 3 against Cal Raleigh. And Abreu punches him right out. Again, that's too close to call. That's in the zone. You got to swing at it. And he freezes him at 98. And the Mariners now are down to their final 5 outs. And again, I can understand the long message that was sent to me from my longtime broadcast partner, Cooper Hopkins. I know Seattle is his hometown team, and that's his lifeblood, being a proud Seattleite. But, man, he flat out told me that this is going to be too tough for me to be able to watch. He goes, they were hot for a month and a half. I thought they were going to get in. They've been floundering a little bit, and I just can't take it. That's what he sent to me, and I don't blame him, because I know I would feel the same way if it was like my Red Wings, especially on the playoff side, as I mentioned. Dominic Leone going to get set to warm up here for Seattle. Again, that's been moved a little bit of a trade. A little bit of mop-up duty at this point. 0-2. This is Ford. That could have been called if you wanted to speed up this game, but that is a splitter that just missed down in the zone. 26 pitches into Abreu's day upcoming. He has been very solid out of the bullpen there. Dusty Baker didn't have that yesterday. He's got that now. This Houston bullpen has been on lock. Again, the starters in between from where they were last year, not as good, but this bullpen still around that same number. And again, with the names that they have in the back end, when it's time to win, especially late in the year and going to the postseason, I think you can put your trust in them for sure. This went off the hands at 99. It would have been a strike anyway. And Ford had to offer at it. Last time he was punched out on a ball. And we'll see what happens now this time through. In the bottom 8, Mariners need a lot of runs. They need a lot of hope here if they're even going to have a chance. Looks like the Astros have already locked this up. There's been a lot of intrigue into this game, but it's all come through the 4th inning and the 7th inning, where the Astros had scored 7 runs up until Martin Maldonado's solo shot on the top of the 8th. Rojas due on deck. Full count here from Mike Ford. 229, 16 bombs, 34 RBI. 5 seconds to go in on the pitch clock. This one is cued in off the hands, and Mike Ford keeps this at-bat alive. So again, I've noticed a little bit that you can put him as more of a speedy type catcher or a DH. He's been more of the DH side because you do have Murphy. He's nursing an injury. We got Cal Raleigh back there. So more of a DH side to keep the best bat available. Ford does draw the walk. Seattle's drawn a few of those today, but they've also punched out on inopportune times. Now they're going to have to start stringing some things together. And that's going to end with the bottom of the order for Josh Rojas before you go back to J.P. Crawford. So J.P. Crawford will at least get one more look even after Rojas, even if it's a double play. He's been the best Mariners hitter alongside Eugenio Suarez, but it's been silent after that. The Astros have been good across the board, on that end. So a strike makes it 0-1, 87 miles an hour on a curve, and Abreu of 32 pitches into his second inning of work, trying to keep everything clean and keep the scoreline right where it is. Fastball will buzz the midsection, and Rojas will take a couple steps back, make it 1-1. So Ryan Presley is getting warm. And again, I think at this point, considering how important the game is, I think that's what Dusty Baker should go with. That's what I would do. 1-1. Rojas. This is a fastball inside, and Rojas doesn't even swing at it. As far as what is upcoming tomorrow, we will just go ahead and give you that. The Rangers and the Mariners will play at T-Mobile Park at 9:40. The Astros will enjoy the off day, and so will the Diamondbacks before they play in Arizona. 2-2. As the yellow hammer is swung on a little bit early there, and Rojas way out in front of it. Abreu has been excellent in this game. He's mixed that curveball and that fastball beautifully. 5 seconds to go on the pitch clock. Get an extra 5 with a runner on base. Way down in the zone, and now Abreu's going to have to lock back in and find it here. You don't want to make any extra danger when you don't have to. It's now a full count. J.P. Crawford will be up next. You know he's not going anywhere. Other notable games tomorrow, 7:07 start. Rogers Center between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. Will the Blue Jays get shut out 3 straight times? I'd find that hard to believe. And did he get a piece of it? Was Rojas. They say that he did. I thought actually he did not. That's why I wanted to hold my call. But he somehow keeps the bat alive unless Maldonado just dropped that baseball. So they'll back out. Do it again as Rojas will get set to dig in. Again, they keep showing this. They haven't left it on the Root Sports. 3 bombs, 38 RBI. They're desperately wanting the Mariners to go answer something doesn't seem very likely. Abreu waiting on the full count pitch for a 3rd straight time as he gets set to deliver here from Maldonado. This one slammed foul. He got a good piece of that bat head, but he was out in front off of a changeup, blasted it down the right field line, but we'll do it again. John out here with you on the call. I know it's a solo one, but I appreciate you guys following in between the Twitter and X space and the YouTube side at John Reinott. I will be back next week nonetheless for a wild card matchup. I think we're going to walk into one team as this gets followed back. If we get any rain delays, then I will juggle the schedule, because if it is a rain delay, I'm not going to sit through it. We'll just give you a full baseball game to work with. But if the Astros do make the playoffs and it is the Lone Star Series, I think that's something I will lock into. My color broadcaster might be Pro Texas, so I'll have to tell him to tone it down a little bit on that side, because you can get a little nuts, but that's not my primary guy. This is down the right field line. Rojas able to slash it past Tucker. Tucker gets it in quickly, and now it is first to third as Mike Ford able to slide in, and Rojas able to make something happen. Now here's where the intrigue might start, because J.P. Crawford's got a home run. He's already walked 3 times, and now you have 2 runners on base, and the Astros down 5. They absolutely need J.P. Crawford to continue to have the game of his life and stay locked in at the plate. And you know Julio Rodriguez wants an opportunity. I think this is one of those games where he's kind of wore the collar here, and he's got to be able to redeem himself. Teoscar Hernandez did that big time. And between Crawford and Suarez, those are really the only guys you have faith in right now at this point of the game for Seattle. They got to come through here down 5. So again, they're showing out on the Root Sports side, Houston 3 games at Arizona. Seattle's got their 4 games against Texas, and Toronto has 3 games against Tampa Bay. And if Tampa Bay really wants to, against the Toronto Blue Jays, they could make their life a living hell considering their divisional rivals. Tampa really doesn't have anything else to play for because they have a wild card spot locked in. But I would say that because Baltimore, if they lose a couple games, maybe Tampa gets that division lead in the AL East and they don't get stuck in a wild card and then get a bye. So Tampa's kind of got everything to play for if they choose to, unless they want to be locked into the wild card spot. I don't imagine why you would if you feel like you can catch Baltimore. But my point is, they could make Toronto's life a living hell on that side. It's not a given for any of these teams in the American League. 1-0. Crawford, nice eye. He's going to go for his fourth walk, maybe. Seattle 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Boy, would it be a time for them to go 2 for 10. They're down 5 runs. It's the bottom of the 8th with 1 on a double play would get the Astros right out of this. That's what the doctor would order. And this is swung on and missed. He was bunched in up on a sinker at 88 on the inside zone. Crawford 1 for 1 with a home run and 3 walks. You don't see that stat line very often, but he can definitely surprise you. Crawford. Undisciplined swing there as he offered it a fastball way out of the zone. I know he's upset with himself because he's been all over the plate. He's had the right eye. Can't afford to make any mistakes here. The 2-2 pitch. And he blow it right past him at 97. Crawford, if he was just a little bit early there, he felt like he could have absolutely smacked that one. But he hit it a little bit late. He could have absolutely had something. And it's going to leave it up to Julio Rodriguez. We're going to take a break here. When we come back up and be Julio Rodriguez at the dish.
Jesse loves playing detective.
But since we found out she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
At first, we thought the problem was our puppy. Look, that's Sinclair. Or something outside.
But the culprit was our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Pod 3 in general. It cleans better. And
You got any thoughts as we're in a commercial break, gentlemen? Go ahead and leave them out here. It's been a hell of a game so far, and it's probably got one more opportunity with runners on base for Julio Rodriguez. Other than that, it's probably over.
I think Neris should have never pissed off Julio Rodriguez, because if Rodriguez comes through, this could be trouble for Houston.
Yeah, I think it's the last opportunity here, as you said it. I agree with you. I know we talked a little bit with Jonathan that was in here because, I don't know, pressure, you can make diamonds here, it can burst pipes. Julio Rodriguez got to come through, and who knows, this could be the last time we talk about something meaningful for Seattle in their season. For Houston, I would fully expect them to at least maybe take 2 out of 3 against Arizona. I know they're fighting for their lives, but this really is the game at this point. If Julio Rodriguez doesn't come through, it's done.
I'm never going to say this because I like the Braves and I like the Astros, but I would have never thought, and I know the game's coming back on, I'm just going to say this real quick, I would have never thought that the Astros fans would be so excited as world champions playing for a wild card berth this season. I wouldn't have never seen it.
Just the amount of excellence that you would expect. I can totally hear you on that side. You want to be able to expect to win the division. I guess the only defense that I could give them on that side, because I agree with you. I think that's a great point, honestly. But the only defense I can say was Texas started out the year so hot that it's just, sometimes that's the way that it works. But I would expect as soon as they get in the wild card spot, if they get in, I'm expecting Houston to do so. I think that they're going to be able to show Texas a taste of their own medicine, and that Battle of Houston, Battle of Texas, I think is going to go to the Stros. That's just me.
Texas got Garcia and Young back, and they're healthy now, so that's what scares me.
Yeah, that lineup is dangerous as hell. It's just one of the things where their bullpen and their starters, for Texas, it leaves you a lot to be desired. And that's what the $1 million question is. Hell, it's been that question for the last 3 months, really. So as we get back into this now, and Julio Rodriguez, they're showing this again in between Hector and Neris. Again, they've showed so many camera cuts, but I'll throw this back into the official play-by-play from what we just talked about going to the commercial break. That's what kind of started a little bit of this confab. And I know for some of the Astros fans in are kind of nervous about Neris kind of pulling the blood there for Rodriguez, but now it's Ryan Presley here, the closer, trying to go for a 4-out save. I think Dusty Baker's doing it right. And if you're Julio Rodriguez there, 95 splitting the plate, I don't know what you're waiting on here. But this is a situation, I know it's a non-save situation, but as far as the season, it's as important as it is. This is really going to quantify as a save for me. You're going to get the job done, go through closer. That's the right move. Ryan Presley, 96, and another big cut there for Rodriguez. And he's just not looked sharp tonight as far as pitches I feel like he should be able to hit. These are ones going up the middle of the zone, up high in the zone, the power spots where he likes it. Presley out in front, 0-2. Can he put him away? And he blew him away with a curveball, got him way out in front. Presley made that look academic. We go to the ninth. The Astros up 8-3.
It's Ford SUV season. Time to gear up for adventure, on or off-road. Get great deals on our vehicle lineup.
I think it's a perfect example, and I give Presley a lot of credit. That's a perfect example of somebody being in their own head tonight, no doubt about it.
Hurry in to your local Ford dealer. SUV season will end soon.
For Join Easy Plan, lessees can lease a 2024 Ford Edge for $309 a month for 24 months only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Men and women who drive Ford trucks do it.
So do you think Seattle has an opportunity to, if they lose this game, to still be in it?
Honestly, if Seattle loses this game, they're going to have to. I know I said 3 out of 4 against Texas. They might have to go for a sweep, and the only problem with that is they're 1-8 against them this year. So if they lose tonight, I'm going to just flat out tell you no. I think they're done.
As it stands, the Astros would play Tampa. Do you think they would beat Tampa Bay?
In a wild card series where it's best of 3, I'm going to go ahead and give the advantage of the Houston Astros. When you can go ahead and throw out Justin Verlander and Framber Valdez and the rest of that lineup, I know Tampa's been good all year, but the lineup all the way across the board and compared to Tampa, when you can offer Altuve, Bregman, in the sense of it for Kyle Tucker, when you go ahead and you talk about Yordan Alvarez, that's a lot more damage than what Tampa will give. Do we know what the situation is with Wander Franco? Is he available at all?
I don't think he's available. I think he's
With all
once
the
all them reports
Right.
came out, I think they pretty much sealed his fate.
yeah, so I don't even know if he's going to play baseball again on that side. So
I don't think he'll ever play baseball in the MLB again. I just don't see it.
no. So with him being out and with the lineup the Astros have, I'm going to go with the Astros. Maybe Tampa gets a game, but I'm going to go with 2-0 sweep for Houston.
I think it's going to go 3 games.
Do you think the Astros get it?
It depends on who's pitching game 3.
I think that's fair to say because when
Because to be honest with you, even with Verlander, it's not a guaranteed win because Verlander has had a no decision other than the other night when he pitched in
Right.
Seattle. Other than that, he's had several no decisions. I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get with the Astros pitching nowadays. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think when you go in between Framber Valdez and Verlander, I get what you're saying with that because I got to watch Verlander a lot here in Detroit. Now the second tour of duty with Houston, you know, he could be a guy that gives up some bombs, but when it gets to the postseason, I don't care how old Justin is. I know he's 40 now, but I just trust in it. It might just be a gut feeling for me, but I think they got too much to offer over Tampa. I don't want to sit there and write it as a shoo-in for the Astros to make the World Series when they're still fighting for a wild card. But that's my favorite team in the American League. I do think the American League's more wide open. I think in the National League, I'd be shocked if the Braves don't make it.
As a Braves fan, I could tell you, in a long time, this has been the most exciting season. Everything that Atlanta's done, they're 6 shy of, getting the season home run record.
Right.
Everybody in their lineup has anywhere from 20 to 30 home runs. We're breaking records. It's a win or bust. As a Braves fan, and I've talked to multiple, it's a win or bust. You either win the World Series or we consider this season a bust. Now you ask me, well, why do you consider it a bust? Because of everything we've done.
Right.
As fans, we like to look at, sometimes we overlook the win and loss records, and we look at the features and what they've done in the season. And it doesn't take away from the perspective of the game, but when you've broken so many records and you don't win the World Series, when everybody chooses you to be the winner, it's a bust.
We've been talking about some good discussions. As we get back into the play-by-play, I'm going to bring that into it a little bit. So there is one out on the top of the ninth, and Leon's out there for Seattle. He's just trying to stem the tide here, but the Astros have already done the damage. We're talking about the Astros, and we're talking about the Braves a little bit going into this playoff push. And for everything, we're talking about the Braves. With Alex Anthopoulos as the GM and all the other players, when you're thinking about Austin Riley or Ronald Acuna Jr. or Ozzie Albies, and the list goes on and on and on. The one thing that you love about that is all of those guys are locked in, and they're going to be competing for a World Series seemingly every year. But I do agree, when you have the discussion there, is it World Series or bust for Atlanta, and is that how you quantify success? It's either complete success or failure. I think you have to look at it that way. I don't think that's the wrong way to look at it, because that's how good the team is. But the one thing, because I've known this as a Tigers fan for a long time, and it wasn't just because of the Cabrera trade and Prince Fielder and Victor Martinez and Magdalene Ordonez. I know I'm hitting the Wayback Machine. My point was then you can go to the ballpark at Comerica and know that it was sold out, and you'd see those names on the jerseys and they're not going anywhere. My point being, for Atlanta, they're in that same situation. We've got to the World Series a couple times in Detroit in 2006, 2012. You didn't win it. Braves won a couple years ago. They're looking to do so again. Houston won the year, just before. Yeah, it's pretty much win or go home on that side between both of these teams, but especially for the Braves. I couldn't agree more. This one is served into the right field side. Teoscar Hernandez at the plate on a hop, and it'll be another opportunity for Michael Brantley. I believe that's his 4th hit of the game. He's been absolutely on fire. He's a little bit day-to-day with a little bit of an ankle himself, but you wouldn't notice that right now, as it's 1 on and 1 out in the top of the 9th. And if Houston already, they're in a situation where this game is done. They had any more runs here, this is completely church at this point. And Mauricio Dubon had one of the bigger salvos, hitting a 3-run home run. We'll get set to dig in right now. 12 pitches into Leon's day. It's kind of mop-up duty at this point. But really, you got to turn the page, and that's going to happen as quickly as tomorrow, as they'll be right back at T-Mobile Park when they welcome the Texas Rangers for 4. It's going to be Logan Gilbert against a TBA at this point. And for the Rangers, if they get in the postseason, as Dubon will put this one deep in left field, but this will be caught off the back catch by Kelnick off the back foot. But if the Rangers, assuming they're going to get in, which you think they will, you don't have Max Scherzer and you don't have Jacob deGrom. So what are you rolling with on that one? Are you rolling with Martin Perez and Dane Dunning as your top starters, and then you're leaving the rest to go as it is? Because I know Texas can score a ton of runs, but when you get into playoff baseball, those runs tend to dry up a little bit. And for as good as Texas is, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a round or two. But for them going to the World Series, I just think there's too many holes. I would go with the other team in Texas and Houston. And on the other side in the American League, I mean, man, if you want to flip a coin in between the Baltimore Orioles, they've been so good all year. I know they're young players, but I can't necessarily write them out either. They've been a lot of fun to watch. Sunday is going to tell all on that end. By the time we get through Sunday night football, all the stuff for the rest of the MLB standings will be done, and then between the Tuesday side, we'll start the wild card side where I'll cover an entire series. And it could be Houston and Texas or whatever else. We'll figure that out. So step to the bag, and the Mariners are down to their final 3 outs. They're down 5. It's 8-3.
All right, I didn't want to interrupt you while you was doing that, but I do have a question to ask.
Sure.
If the Rangers get the bye, which we assume they will, do you think that gives them enough time to bring back Scherzer and get him ready?
I couldn't tell you for certain, but I'm going to tell you this. And between everybody in Texas's pitching staff, all the way across, between the general manager and all the way down to that office, I think they're going to do everything else, inject Scherzer with anything else, or do whatever they can to make sure that he's available. My guess is going to be yes. They're going to make sure that he's going to be available as much as possible in any capacity, bullpen or not. I'm expecting Scherzer to be there, and I'm sure Texas is too.
And with the Astros going to play the Diamondbacks Friday, the Diamondbacks have already said they're going to throw out Galli.
He's a good one. Yep.
So, and supposedly Gallier is going to be going up against J.P. Cranes. I would have to give the pitching edge to Diamondbacks. And as a Braves fan, I know we beat the Cubs tonight. And with the Cubs basically losing ground on the Diamondbacks are going to have a very difficult, I'm not saying very difficult, but they're going to have a 3-game set with the Astros. And the Cubs are going to have a 3-game set with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So you already know the Diamondbacks are going to play hard with everything they got because they want to be the second seed in the wild card standings. I just want to throw that out there.
No, you're absolutely right. That's what's going to make everything so fun to watch in between all the way through Sunday. Again, as we talked about, you would think, I'll pull this recorder back up, you would think as we get to the bottom of the 9th that the Diamondbacks take at least 1 out of 3 with that Gallo matchup, you give them the favorite there. And the Cubs, you got to win at least 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. You already dropped one that you should have had. And did Presley buzz the tower of Suarez? He did, but he didn't hit him. So still 1-0. And just in case I forgot to do this on the recorder side, I think I might have. The Astros didn't go 1-2-3 in the 9th, but they didn't score runs as Suarez had to back out of the way of that one, not hit him in the face. And Presley said, I apologize. I didn't mean to do it. We know we didn't mean to do it on that side. But the Mariners are down to their last hope, down 5. It does not look good for them. Again, as we talked about going through, we've had some good conversations during the commercial breaks in between the Braves and the Mariners and all the other teams, Texas and all of that, Tampa. Who's going to make it? Who's going to do what? I mean, we're looking at brass tacks here. Mariners got to start tomorrow as they welcome the Rangers for 4 games, and they're 1-8 against them this year. They've been good against the AL West all the way across the board. Very, very good across the AL West, except for Texas. Now they're putting themselves in a situation they have to win 3 out of 4 or sweep. Suarez takes a tough pitch. That one's borderline. The Root Sports side keeps showing Julio Rodriguez. He's had a very tough night now. You have those. Sometimes it sucks. I get it, but you really got to lock in these next 4 games. You can't afford to have any mistakes. This is a curveball way out of the zone, and Suarez been one of the best hitters today alongside J.P. Crawford, been able to draw walks, just trying to keep it alive. Teoscar Hernandez really needs to make something happen, but it depends on Suarez first. Pitch clock down to 3. Presley gets a sign and delivers, and this one slammed down the right field line. Will do it again with a full count. Astros have been a full count now about 10 times. In terms of a couple of innings, we'll throw this out there very quickly. Of the fourth, where they scored 4, and the seventh, and where they scored 3rd, that's where they've been pretty comfortable. On that end, for a J.P. Crawford solo to begin the game and a Eugenio Suarez 2-run single, that's it, and that's all. Curveball way out of the zone. Suarez draws the walk. So Teoscar Hernandez needs to be able to make something happen here. That's how you get things started, but you really can't get any outs yet at this point. So they're showing this on Root Sports. The last time they were in Houston, it was this opposite-ended blast for Julio Rodriguez. That was when they were at H-Town. But it's going to take a long time to get back to that point of the order again. Doesn't seem very realistic, but it would only take Teoscar Hernandez and maybe Ty France at 6 in the order to start to make it feel like it's a possibility. But if there's an out in between at any point, then you can mark it off. So Presley's got to walk back in here. He's walked Suarez, and now the first pitch is up high to the dome of Teoscar Hernandez. They keep going back to J-Rod, wanting to have him get a chance to get to it, but it's going to be a long time coming in the order. Presley trying to lock it down. Critical wild card positioning. And 2 straight pitches outside the zone is going to bring Maldonado out of the crouch. He's going to talk to his closer here, make sure. He's just shaking his head. I think he's saying he's losing to feel that curveball. They're going to lock back in. As the crowd might start to get into this a little bit more, they're going to boo a little bit for the meeting, as you would expect. And then Jared Kelenic is still 5th in the order. He was the replacement of Dylan Moore. And in the 8th side of the order was Mike Ford. In 9th, it was Jose Caballero for Josh Rojas. So Scott Service has used a lot of different parts of his batting order, but he's expecting Teoscar to come through here quickly. A double play is going to kill this, essentially. It's 2-0 for Teoscar now with a couple pitches that have been way out of the zone. You got to find something that you like. That's really all you can do at this point is you're down 5 and you got to maximize everything. It kind of feels like a challenge in MLB The Show where you score 10 runs with 3 outs, and it's pretty much what you got to do here down 5. Fastball gets the call as Presley. Hernandez shrugs his shoulders and shakes his head. That was a few inches out of the zone, but again, if we're going to the beginning of this game in Framber Valdez, he was burned by that several times. So the strike zone's been very tight and at times been inconsistent. Popped up into the air, Teoscar Hernandez in a shallow center field. Mauricio Dubon makes the easy catch. And it's 1 up and 1 down now, as this will go back to Eugenio Suarez, who has walked. So Kelenic will be next, as the Mariners are down to their final 2 outs. Again, John out here with you on the call. On this side, I appreciate you joining me between the Twitter and X Spaces, and on the YouTube side, at John Reinach. I will be back next week in between the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday side. I believe that's when the wildcard stuff will start. On that end, we'll cover an entire series. My goal is to cover an entire series, but if we do have rain delays, I will swap in between games. So baseball for you next week in the wild card, and then the following week will be the NHL openers for the regular season Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Kelenic, curveball. Don't know what he was waiting for on that one. That had hit me written all over it, but it's 1-1 as it splits the plate at 81. Kelenic 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Again, I know he's a little bit younger here as far as the 24-25. They've been expecting him to break out, but he's not been able to hit MLB pitching. That's the part of it for Jared. And now he's quickly down 0-2 when he's already punched out twice. Next will be Ty France. He will be the last hope if Kelenic does not reach. 1-2 is the count. He's gone after a couple curveballs. 94. This one will fall down the left field, and Brantley's going to have to play it on a hop. It's a solid single. It's going to keep the train moving for the moment, and it'll bring up Ty France, although the Mariners still down 5. Presley trying to get the 4-out non-save, but considering how important this game is at 8-3, where it's just a half a game in the wild card spot, Houston trying to go to a game and a half, that you would use your closer in this situation. Don't blame Dusty Baker at all. It's the right decision at this point. Ty France, he did it a home run in last night's game. It's got to come through big time. Just get on base any way you can. That's what Seattle fans are urging him to do. Again, it's going to be a jam-packed crowd with Texas in Seattle tomorrow for 4 games. It's going to be an off day for Houston, as they will have to travel to Arizona. Presley, 95, does not go as Ty France. 1-1, 21 pitches into the closer's day, trying to hold on to a 5-run lead. This one hasn't been as nail-biting as yesterday at times, but the bullpen has been very good for the Astros. France hit one pretty good. Kyle Tucker gets on a catch just before the warning track, and he makes a basket catch, and the Mariners are down to their last out. France did exactly what she could do. He hit it as hard as he could. He just missed hitting it out on the short right field part of the porch. This will bring it up to Cal Raleigh. He is the last hope. He is a guy that can definitely hit the ball in the ballpark. He is second on the Mariners in home runs. Julio Rodriguez got 31. Cal Raleigh's got 30, 74 RBI. Again, I understand a base hit or a walk would help in this situation, but I think Cal's only got one thing on his mind at this point. 1 for 4. Single in the fourth and the run scored. A loss at this point would be absolutely critical for the Mariners, and a win would be absolutely critical for the Astros. And the Blue Jays, they're going to have to stay right where they are because they got shut up by the Yankees twice in back-to-back games. Cal Raleigh, 235, 30 bombs, and 75 RBI. He's up in front of the count, 2-0, but the Mariners down to their last out, runners on first and second. Cal Raleigh's got to come through. He's the last hope. 2-0. 94. Slammed to short center field. Dubon's going to camp it underneath it. And the Houston Astros take a critical game. They win this series. They win 8-3. It's an off day before they go play against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe they take 2 out of 3 from that. They're going to find themselves in the wild card. John Ott signing off from the Root Sports feed. Astros win 8-3. Thank you guys for joining me. It was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it, man. How's the ball, man?
Well, we'll see what happens next week. If you keep an eye on my Twitter side, I'll put the schedule out there around Sunday night. We'll let you know what's going on. Hopefully it'll be some more Astros for you guys on that end because I feel like it could be.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, we will see you.
All right.
Even though they did that last week after a loss to Baltimore, but they celebrated tonight. Orioles wouldn't clinch their first AL